and welcome to your reading. If you chose Pile 1, then you are in the right spot. Today we are doing a mystery reading, and we will be pulling from every single one of my piles. We'll also be pulling crystals, charms, and we will just let this reading free flow and see where it takes us. I will first be pulling from my Dream Symbology deck. Alright, so let us begin. Also, before I was entering this reading, I was hearing sleep talk. Da-na-na-na-na. I don't know if there's a song that says sleep talk or sleep walk, but I was hearing that. So let's pull from our Dream Symbology deck and see what comes out for you, Pile 1. Okay, so Pile 1, for you, we have Corridor, representing in-between states, moving into a neutral state that allows you to make changes, a transitional space that connects rooms or aspects of the psyche, and this card shows up as a reminder for one's need to explore. We also have games, so this card represents competition, play or skill, challenges, childishness, the game of life, quote unquote, desire for escape or entertainment. We also have lock, a need to keep something safe, inability to get what you want, being kept out, being locked in to something, and confusion. Ghost, representing guilt or a past situation that needs resolution, vulnerable emotional state, unfinished business haunting you. And this card shows as a reminder and a message to tie up any loose ends that weigh on your subconscious. And finally, from this deck, we have prison, a need for escape, feeling trapped, restricted, or limited in some aspect, feelings of guilt or shame. And this card is a warning to avoid making choices that could lead to negative consequences. So just to go over the symbols that we've arrived at so far, we have corridor, games, and on this card we have some dice. And I don't know if for some reason 34 or 43 and 12 are numbers that are sticking out to me on the dice on that card. We also have lock, ghost, and prison. So I'm getting that you are like on a bridge at the moment in between A and B, and you feel like you've had to guard something of yours away from the environment, and I feel like it's away from something at point A that you don't want to follow you to point B. And I'm just getting the sense that this thing that, you're wanting to sort of leave behind, it's like it weighs you down on your journey of getting across the bridge. It makes you feel heavier. And on the bottom of this deck, we have a collection of personal reflections looking within. This card is Diary. It's representing secrets and private thoughts, capturing memories or emotions, self-discovery via writing. Maybe that's something you do or you need to do. I know that's something I love to do personally and something I need to do more of. Keeping things hidden or keeping things too hidden may lead to isolation or emotional buildup. And there's like this message that keeps coming through my readings about my personal readings, and I'm feeling compelled to share this about like maybe you relate to this feeling of maybe being like a hidden gem, like you have something to offer, but you maybe for a long time didn't feel like you were in the space to offer it, and it took a lot for you to maybe realize what it was that you had to offer. But there's a time for everything, and I think, the time for guarding yourself from state A that you're leaving behind, is no more. And now this guarding, this defense that you maybe used to have for survival and that was necessary to preserve and protect you is actually now keeping you hidden. So it's like you need to release that old mode of survival, I'm hearing. Pulling from our next deck now. And I just took notice to how Diary was placed just subconsciously next to Corridor. So maybe writing and reflecting on things, and maybe I'm hearing like a log or keeping track of things. And maybe this is what helped you navigate away from point A. You're not totally detached from point A. You're on the bridge, like we said, but this personal journaling maybe is what helps you leave point A behind and enter onto the bridge that you're on. But obviously, if there was reflections that came about that experience that was constructive, they were constructive reflections, then there's more reflections that you can pull from in continuing to journal. So we have the 8 of coins here, and I didn't realize my deck was reversed. So I did flip this back around, but I think you are working diligently on something for yourself right now. You are focused on your craft, and I think maybe this focus began sort of like a glacier, how much of it is unseen. I think this focus and this craft that you began started way before you were even aware of it, but now it's come into your awareness and you have, your hands on the craft. You are directly involved in a focus. And I think it's a focus that ties several skills of yours together, perhaps. Maybe you're incredibly studious and incredibly well at speaking, and you have an interest in something, and all those things come together to deliver you this quality that really presents itself like a gift in your life. The number 8 could be significant to you in just 8th house qualities, scorpionic qualities, rebirth, transformation through, like a lotus flower, how it comes from mud and then it's super beautiful. It's just like transformation through hardship, opportunity through hardship, alchemizing the worst into the best. I think you are someone who is quite reflective just by nature. And so maybe that's part of why this craft of yours that you sort of arrived at, or it feels like maybe it's arrived at you, but really it's like maybe you guys arrived at each other. I think you spent just a lot of time reflecting happily. But, and because of that reflecting, I think a lot of stuff might pass you by, even the stuff that you're interested in and the stuff that you dream of. And I don't mean to say like your dreams are passing you by, but it's like, I think you might be the type that's like goes through just a whirlwind of maybe the worst of what life has to offer, and you don't really think about how hard it was or what it took out of you to go through that. You just kind of go through it and you land on the other side and you recover and you don't think about it really. So because of that, you didn't really even realize that you were arriving at your dream's doorstep, I'm hearing. And on the bottom of this deck, we have 3 of Swords. So some element of grief or loss, heartbreak may have brought you here. And I'm hearing a third party situation. This journaling may have been sort of where you realized, the journaling may have been where you most closely realized the craft that you are like working with. But this situation, you're on the bridge. I feel like you feel suspended in this situation at the moment. And, something I feel like you have like this secret bond of love to something. Like, I'm being reminded of this one scene in Courage the Cowardly Dog where, but there's like oftentimes when there's an issue, Courage will go up into the attic and like get on the internet, or like I guess it's just a computer. I don't know if it's like connected to the internet, but he's like getting on the computer and like using the resources on the computer secretly to sort of, it's not really in secret, it's just no one knows about it, and he's going alone, and he's sort of it is alone, and he's handling something alone when he does this. And I get the sense that you're just like, oh my gosh, I love this thing. Maybe I feel like it's a tool or something that you have like a secret just love for, because it's allowed you to, it's been a secret weapon, and you don't even almost want to identify it publicly because it's been just, yes, your secret weapon for getting across the bridge, and with even all the weight that you still have on you. The perspective may be a little bit different on the camera because I did just change out our battery, but just jumping back into the reading here. And I am taking notice to just some of the color on the games card. Near the dice is red, so like perhaps someone may have played with passion or toyed with passion. So we have here yellow rose, also gold rose or friendship rose, layered, hidden layers of leaves this flower has, and this card represents jealousy, decrease of love, infidelity. The yellow rose thrives best with consistent watering. So symbolically here we would be talking about, the situation would have thrived best with consistent emotions. So in this situation, I'm getting there was inconsistency in the emotions. There was inconsistency in the face of something. Something had a mask on. And at the moment, you are confronting difficult emotions and truths. And this flower, the yellow rose, is often grown for its beauty and fragrance. And this stands as symbolism to, maybe directly towards you, maybe this competition and this game of toying with one's passion. And I do get that you were the one whose passion was toyed with, as in the other party toyed with your passion. Love, this card says, love can mask deeper emotional struggles. Beware of possessiveness. So I do get the sense that, there is a possessiveness here. Maybe someone was, I'm feeling like maybe you dealt with someone who wanted to own you but didn't want to be owned, is sort of the vibe that's coming through. On the bottom of this deck, we have Sweet Pea, also Everlasting Pea or Treetop Pea. This card represents blissful pleasures, goodbye, thank you for a lovely time. Found in gardens, in trellises, and climbing structures, this plant thrives best with consistent moisture, much like it would require of a relationship, the nurturing of a relationship. This plant has delicate, fragrant flowers with sweet scents, and serves as a reminder to beware of transience. Don't hold on to fleeting moments. Appreciates life's impermanence. So there is a feeling here of maybe part of the weight that you bear in crossing this bridge isn't just the weight of what we've previously discussed, but also additionally the weight of holding on to a memory of something, holding on to the fantasy of something. And I'm getting it's the fantasy of whatever the fantasy was that you held before you came to the awareness of your passion being toyed with. You came to the awareness of needing to guard something within yourself. You came to the awareness of being on the bridge. Coming to the awareness of how vulnerable you are and how trapped you may feel. We have 3 of Swords in the reverse. So I do think this is a period of you actually, it's a period of you becoming empowered. It's a period of you taking the weapons that were used against you and, you're turning them, you've pulled the knife out of your back and now you're using it to as a weapon of your own. It's like that. And you're not wielding it unjustly or anything of that nature. It's, you are simply guarding yourselves. You are holding, at this point, you're just guarding yourself with it is what I'm getting. But more importantly, you're guarding what you now witness you have to present to the world. You have this thing to bring forward. And I'm getting you might actually have 2 or 3 things to bring forward. But you have one very potent, specific quality or gift that you possess that you're protecting at this point. At this point you've realized it. It's a source of pain because it's been, used and abused, really. On the bottom of this deck we have Son of Wands, and it's interesting. I pulled from this deck next because on the back of it we have this snake texture, and I was called to that, and on we're landing here on the image of a snake. And I do feel like, you are shedding. And the image, this wand is reminding me of a sparkler, a 4th of July sparkler, and holding a sparkler. And I feel like sparklers, this last year that I got a sparkler, I feel like they get shorter every time. Maybe it's just me growing up, but they are so short at this point, and I feel like they used to be so long. But a sparkler is fun and exciting and mesmerizing, but also scary, and it burns you sometimes, and you're a little scared to hold it. But the message that I'm getting from this card is to remember as a child how that fear translated into excitement. And so anything that you are fearful of in the moment, remember to think instead of it that you are excited if you're fearful to put yourself out there, if you're fearful to release a project or, be seen or whatever it is, translate that fear into excitement. You may be like, you may feel slightly, and I mean just slightly because, obviously if you're here, I take you as someone who is, intuitive. I would say even if you're like, I don't trust my own intuition, that's why I have to come to tarot card readings, or I'm not totally confident in doing my own tarot card readings, so that's why I'm like watching tarot card readings on YouTube, or I feel like you are like an intuitive person yourself. You have a gut sense. You have a good gut. And and like I feel like all of this though, even with that said, all of this has made you come to a point where like you still kind of question like, what's my next step? And I'm honestly feeling like a little bit of that inquisitiveness and like not knowing what the next step is a little bit just to do because of the weight that you're bearing across the bridge. If you didn't have so much weight and you could just sprint forward, you wouldn't have time to ask these questions, okay? It's like because you have all this weight on you, you have the time to reflect and the time to question, and it's a little bit, it's verging on too much time, but I won't say that because I feel like you're using this time constructively and you keep pacing forward. So I won't say it's, too much time, but you spend more time than you have to because you bear this weight. But I think you just have a very big heart, and, you're not trying to leave a tsunami behind you. I think you're trying to clean and sweep clean your path as you walk forward. And my attention is being called back and I had to clear my throat there. So I keep getting just confirmation on that, but I keep getting, a message of you need to put yourself out there. Okay, I'm going through this as well. Like so I feel this, like this is a reading, in many ways that I can relate to in my own ways. So I can understand like the struggle, but there is an imperative. You have to remove the hiddenness of yourself, okay? And I'm not saying don't be private if you're a private person. That's not what I'm saying. It's just there comes a point where privacy becomes you're just hidden away from the world. And you have to realize like you have dreams and you may be engaging in them, but are you engaging in them to the extent that you need to be? Are you showing up all the way? Are you exposing yourself in all the ways that's needed? Don't focus on the past. You're escaping that. This is a period of self-discovery. Maybe that's another reason that writing is important. Maybe keeping a log of like the changes that you're going through is something that is important to you now or will be, or just something that will help the fluidity of this transition for you. So we have come out Not a Race, Rush. And on the bottom of this deck, we have Not a Hairstyle, Pride. So let me grab the guidebook for these. This is the new deck for me. I'll be right back. Oh, and I just noticed too, these cards here, and this is an Oracle deck, but the Not a Race, Rush, and Not a Hairstyle, Pride card that came out here, this is 33 and 32. So it's interesting that out of that deck we get the cards that are right beside each other, as well as the second card being on the bottom of the deck being the number that comes before. To me, it talks about needing to maybe just circle back to address something. Alright, so with the Rush Not a Race card, the transformation this card talks about says, "Hey, where is everybody going? A great stir envelops the once serene path, and if you find yourself caught up in what might be called a mad dash. Oh, it is a busy day, and whoa, I didn't see that one coming. Here we go again, running and running and running. In your dash, in your busy day, along your way, seek peace." I'm getting, as I read that too, you may have something that's sort of keeping you from fully actualizing your dreams for this scenario, your dream outcome in this scenario, okay? So, what I'm hearing is busy work. You don't have to be doing this work, okay? So discern in your life what is just busy work, okay? If you're going through, for example, like if you work from home and you are like, I'll just make up a personal example, but if I'm like, I want to make a tarot reading today, and I'm like, I find myself going through the house and I'm straightening up photo frames, or, you know, maybe just straightening things up is a good example, okay? That stuff doesn't have to be done. Do your dream work and leave leave busy work to the birds right now, okay, is what I'm hearing. Just busy work is not, that's not where you're at, okay? So just moving along in the reading now. So we have, in your dash, in your busy day, along your way seek peace. In the hustle and bustle of your journey, there is so much to see. And even in times of rush and worry, magic can be found. For on your busiest, craziest day, the unicorn race can abound. The meditation that this card offers says, run the great unicorn race and enjoy the marathon with laughter and delight. You feel yourself moving and rushing and kicking up dust with the best of them. You embrace the energy all around you. Maintain an aura of peace and positivity in all of this. And that is so imperative. I'm like feeling that with like a black, powerful, like weighted force, okay? Maintain an aura of peace and positivity in all of this. Now glance at the finish line. What do you see waiting for you? What is your prize? Okay, and what's standing out to me about that line is you need to visualize what it will be like, where you're going. Visualize that. Feel it, believe it, and, you know, believe it to be true. And what does that feel like for you? Those sorts of things can be, if you're not already doing them, ways to bring this timeline closer to you, to focus, to, you know, maintain energy. The affirmation that comes with this card is, I seek magic in all things. High energy days are the best. The action that comes with this card is, running is such a fun activity and a great way to build up joy and energy in the body, or not. Walk swiftly today, or run, or just plain exercise. As long as you have fun. And on your next busiest day, when you're caught in a flurry, find peace in your heart amid all that hurry. Moving on to the Pride, Not a Hairstyle Oracle card. You know, the imagery on this card is just making me feel like you were born, like, special. And, you know, maybe for a long time you felt, you still do, I think, feel alien, maybe to those around you and just humanity, and just, you know, you have something about you that's so special you can't fit in and to the norms. Okay, you have a group out there for you, but I don't think it's an average group that's just you're maybe born with and born around, and, you know, it's not that sort of thing. You have something very special, and, like, you know, a unicorn needs to do quite a bit of work to find other unicorns, okay? Like, if we're just speaking, like, symbolically, and, like, if we step into fantasy there a little bit. But let's jump into this card. So this card's transformation says, what's so wrong with taking pride in yourself? Should you fly undetected under the radar and avoid being seen? Maybe along this path, let it all hang out with a new dew that gleams. Brush that mane and style that hair. Let it flow, let it grow, let it shine, and don't mind the glare. This card is specifically talking about hair, but I'm getting that that's just talking about you in general, putting yourself out there, not being scared of being seen. Letting people look, being uncomfortable actually, and being okay with being uncomfortable. It is beautiful to love those luscious locks, and in that appreciation can be found your hair. Yes, you is nothing short of a mystical unicorn, a magical mane to prance around town. The meditation on this card is, imagine a great energy just above your head, circling and swirling, beaming down radiant beauty all through the core of your being. Feel the radiance and take pride in yourself. There is so much to be proud of. Enjoy the space with a smile on your face for as long as you wish. Affirmation here is, I take pride in my appearance. I'm having a great hair day. Action, brush your hair, comb your hair, shave your hair, grow it out. Enjoy yourself from the tippy top of your head all the way down. Love yourself, love your hair, and have an extra pride in that today. Show it off, you're a beauty. You wear a unicorn mane. So from this deck we have Horned Toad, representing the earth element. This card reads, arm yourself with protection, but never forget your soft core. You know, and I do think that this is a time for you to sort of let your guard down, really. And, You know, I've been talking a lot on my channel. If you're here from previous readings and you are sort of like going through the through line with me here, there's like a theme going on just from previous readings and the months previous of vulnerability. And now I think it's shedding itself even deeper. You know, before it was like, be okay with putting yourself out there. And now it's like, you're putting yourself out there, but you need to put yourself out there a little bit more. And before we had these, before we were in this scenario, you know, dealing with the swords, the grief, the loss, the sword in the back, okay, you were just this free floating soft thing. Then you got this scenario, the Three of Swords, but you flipped it and now it's Three of Swords reversed, okay? So you are using this situation in a way, it's to your benefit, okay? You're making it an empowering situation, even though it is heartbreak, it is loss, it is grief. I'm hearing betrayal and just, yeah. So I forget where I was going with that, but on this next card we have Lion, and this card is representing the fire element. It reads, courage and heart will lead you to victory. Have the courage to be yourself. Have the courage to be yourself. Whew. So we have from this deck, athlete, competition, skill, dedication, medal, sports equipment, trophy. You know, I think for the longest time, because you are so loving, you didn't even realize people were competing with you or saw you as something to compete with. But after you realize that, you know, it was going to be a competition for you to, I'm just hearing like win your destiny. Like it's waiting for you, but I feel like you have to fight for it. And after you realized it was a competition, oh, like I'm getting chills right now, okay? Like you stepped up to the plate. On the bottom of this deck, we have fashion designer, style, creativity, innovation, sewing machine, dress form, fabric. I think you innovatively, you know, navigated your way through those circumstances and continue to. I don't know why, but Patrick Swayze is coming through. Maybe that's an important figure for you or a meaningful figure for you. So from this deck, we have Page of Crowns representing power. A small ornate crown resting in open hands is the image for this card. And the keywords are potential for leadership, curiosity about power, and new beginnings in authority. The quote here is, the seeds of power are planted in the hands of those willing to learn and grow. And on the bottom of this deck, we have Four of Mirrors representing reflection, the image being a mirror reflecting a serene face. Keywords here being inner peace, emotional calm, and the quote is, peace comes when we reflect on our inner calm rather than the chaos outside. That's an action I think that you are taking out of necessity at this moment. You may have been feeling like, I'm hearing irregularly, but just maybe out of the blue, but dark, irregularly dark. Maybe your mental state has been taking you to darker places than usual for you. But you, at your core, you have a happy, sunny disposition and are soft at your core. So I think this is, you know, subconscious reactions perhaps to the circumstances. But you are elevating out of this and away from this. You're purifying the circumstances. Maybe you are an artist. I think you've personally battled a lot alone with your mental health. You know, I feel like you've felt stranded with your mental health and like you've had no place to take your problems for help. And you have felt stranded because of that. But I think you know that better days are on the horizon because you create them now. And it may be a heavy walk to get there, but you are walking there. Okay, so we have from this deck, Celestial Scroll. Keywords being manifestation, cosmic power. Okay, so my camera overheated there, but I did go ahead and we have a ton of more decks to go through, so I went ahead and while that was cooling off, swapped my battery out and pulled through the rest of our decks. We're all cooled off now, so let's jump back into this. I have the big, oh no. Okay, you know what? Thankfully, I can remember off that deck. I just had a deck fall to the floor, but thankfully I can remember what cards we pulled out of that deck. The Princess Bride and Flex Tape cards. We'll get to that in a second. You know, I do feel like perhaps it's been hard for you to have fun going through all of this, but you're getting to a place where you feel, you know, it's almost necessary for you to do that again. So coming to this deck here, let me start our timer before we begin. Okay, so in this deck we pulled the card named Celestial Scroll. The keywords on this card are manifestation, cosmic power, and transformation. The quote here is, "With a whisper to the stars, the celestial spell weaves its magic, turning dreams into reality. Trust in the power of the cosmos to bring forth the change you seek." And the angel number on this card is 222. Balance, alignment, and manifestation of your desires. Trust the cosmos. On the bottom of this deck, we had Glass Slipper representing fragile purity and truth. The quote being, "No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true." And that is a quote from Cinderella's mother. And interestingly enough, the mother card in another deck that I created came out. So maybe you have a mother figure that supported you through this. Maybe if not directly in your life, then indirectly. Maybe you've been that own figure for yourself. Maybe nurturing yourself has been something that's, been a life force for you during this time, taking the time to do self-care. The angel number on this card is 8136. Embrace self-control. An invitation to work on yourself and heal so you can manifest. And let me actually take a break there to put some chapstick on. So maybe that's confirmation on the self-care thing. I feel like too, maybe you feel like you haven't had all the tools that you dream of, or that would be would be the best tools for you to do the job with, but you're using what you have and you're making it work. And I just heard from Spirit, you're doing an excellent job. So we have from this deck, the Vigilant Neighbor, Page of Swords, so someone who's close to the family, who is always watchful, quick to act, and ready to share news or updates. On the bottom of this deck, we have the Festive Host, representing Four of Wands. This card reads, a cousin or relative known for organizing family gatherings and celebrations. Maybe this is some insight into you and this other person. I'm feeling like you are the vigilant neighbor and they are the festive host. These are how these energies would have presented themselves at one point. But, you can obviously read into the symbolism here as it feels necessary for you to do. So from this other deck, we have Two of Wands. Right now, you are planning for the future and exploring new possibilities. We also have Ace of Wands. You are embracing new opportunities and creative potential. Any opportunities that come your way that seems for you, you do have an open arms energy about it at the moment. We also have the High Priestess come out. Trust your intuition and delve into mysteries. Along with the Magician, harness your innate talents to manifest your desires. And this last card just says Nines. This card is a representation of culmination, attainment, and fulfillment. I think that is the journey you are on at the moment. On the bottom of that deck, we have Ten of Swords. Embrace closure and transformation after difficulty. So from the meme deck, we got a card from the Princess Bride. Quote, inconceivable. And this card represents Five of Pentacles. And on the bottom of that deck, we had Flex Tape. That's a lot of damage. So this is likely describing, the situation that you're moving from. And likely the energy that's weighing you down a little bit still while you trudge across, you walk across your bridge. So while the camera was off and cooling off, I noticed underneath my chair we had a little tiny stack of cards. It's not too big, but it's also not small. Of cards that had came out, but I had I don't even know when they made their way out. I don't know if they fell out, if I, shuffled them out, or exactly how they made themselves known, but I gathered them, and, I feel like maybe this is a hidden narrative that we need to pay attention here for your pile. So the cards that came out here are Crow, relating to the air element. This card represents intelligence and mystery. Guide your way forward. Next, we have Golden Lion Tamarin, representing the fire element. This card reads, radiate courage through connections with others. Hummingbird, representing air. This card reads, find joy in the present moment no matter how fleeting. Maned wolf representing the fire element. Follow your solitary path with confidence. You know, I do feel like every time I was imagining you on this bridge, you are on the bridge alone. And you're about halfway across the bridge as well when this has come into my mind's eye. And you also have like this giant pack of wares on your back, like a comical pack of wares. Like, I can't remember, I feel like it's the What We Do in the Shadows film, not the series. There's this one part where I think the character Bad Boy Nick is going over his history, and there's like a still shot frame of him like carrying all his wares. And that's like totally how I'm imagining you crossing this bridge. Like, it's just piled on your back. Like, you're almost like a mule, honestly, packing all this stuff across the bridge. And a lot of it isn't even yours to pack, but you're packing it out of care. So we also have Goat here, representing the earth element. And this card reads, climb steadily and trust in your ability to overcome obstacles. You know, I feel like maybe the beginning of this journey and before you stepped on the bridge and maybe your first steps on the bridge, you felt out of control and like you didn't know, you know, it's not that you necessarily didn't have it in you, it's just that you never had the capacity revealed to you. So you were unaware maybe of your own capacity to overcome and provide for yourself. Next, we have the Taken or Taken, representing the earth element, and this card reads, carry weight of responsibility with honor. And I believe you are doing that. You know, just in discussing a moment ago how a lot of this weight that you carry across the bridge isn't even your weight to bear, but you carry it out of care for others. And honestly, these people that you're protecting are partly, I mean, not just partly, that these people that you're protecting and bearing the weight of this stuff doesn't even have to come with you across the bridge. But, you know, these are the people that have hurt you, and it just goes to show the depth of your nobility, the depth of your strength. But I think it's a depth that widely goes unrecognized outside of you. But that is an era that is ending. But you need to expose yourself and, you know, step into the light. That's all you're really being asked to do right now, is to step into the light. Next, we have Otter, representing the water element. Playfulness and joy are your greatest strengths. And lastly, from this hidden narrative deck, we have Cassowary, representing the earth element. Protect your boundaries fiercely, but move with dignity. So from this other pile, this other deck that we have here, so you may have had societal issues be a element at play. I don't know why, but I just felt compelled to check that we were still recording there. Societal issues may have been an element at play with your disposition in this, you know, circumstance. Political instability may have been an element. Emotional issues, specifically low self-esteem of one party, and I'm specifically getting the party of the other. You know, I think you may have had low self-esteem, I'm getting from like bullying and stuff, but I don't think you believe these things about yourself inherently. I think you internalize other people's hate and stuff. But this other person, they approached you with low self-esteem. So pulling from our next deck, we have pulled Lapwing here. This is a bird. The keywords here are protection, adaptability, and community. And it was coming through also just during the reading earlier while I was pulling cards to myself. You are highly protected, highly spiritually protected. You need to, you know, you've been on a journey of being vulnerable and trusting more and having more faith. And I think you have a lot of faith, but more. More even. And the symbols here are shield, nest, tree. But, like, think about that, though. Like, shield, nest, tree. Like, these are, like, safe, secure, stable symbols, okay? Like, your spirit team has your back. You are going where you're going safely, so you can worry less, I'm hearing. And underneath that, we have quail. Keywords being family, protection, groundedness. You know, I think your first family, I just feel like your first real family for some reason was spirit. Like, I feel like you came into this world already having a family, a spirit family, and like you weren't born into that necessarily. You were partly, but like not wholly. And, you know, that's been part of your journey, is finding your family, I guess. But then finding them was partly intangible. Temperament of this bird is protective and grounded. This is a journey of you becoming grounded. You know, the bridge, usually bridges have like, you know, a curve to them, and there's like an elation to it. So you're in the highest, most elated, most confusing, most ungrounded spot on the bridge at this moment, okay? But this is a journey of returning to the ground, and every step you take, you become more grounded. So yes, just something to remember, something to feel rested by. The colors here are black, brown, white. So we also have come out 7 of Swords, and on the bottom of this deck, 8 of Cups. You know, I feel like you're something super rare, and you have qualities that people want to possess, and people inherently sort of want to possess you because of that, and you feel like paranoid. You have paranoia because of it, and you feel, outside of like the experiences you've had at this point where oh shoot, I just accidentally shuffled my deck here off the card that I had, but I remember the image if I can. Okay, here it is. 8 of Cups. So when I reshuffled, I landed on the Tower. Interestingly, I mean, not so interestingly, it goes with this whole narrative, but this Tower moment in your life, though, very clearly with everything we've put together, has been like your moment of like escape. It's the moment when the gate broke open on the farm, okay, and you were like hightailing it out of there, okay, and things are crumbling and crashing behind you, really. And I feel like, this has been like a crumbling and crashing of the emotions. Something that was stable for you at one point and offered a lot of stability was built sort of on stilts. And, this would have been something that it was hard to almost not focus on the hardship of it all because it was so freaking heartbreaking. But you have all these blessings and opportunities waiting for you. It's on this card, she's like looking at all these filled cups with like tears in her eyes. But I don't think you're entering this energy with like 2, 3, 4, as I say, this tears in your eyes per se, but it's like the heartbreak of this was so deep and so profound, like it's hard to not acknowledge it at least, but you try not to hold that with you. And I think for some reason, the reason you hold on to this at the moment is because you feel like you are the only one who will ever be able to acknowledge this, perhaps. So you're hanging on to it a little bit at the moment. But we have here Wheel of Fortune. This card reads, I ride the waves of life. And I feel like you are totally in that process and aware of that natural happening, the ebb and flow, the up and down of life, because you very much have been made aware of it just through how life has been to you and like how you've been to life. I think you assume a rather like passive position, so you when it's up, when it's down, you feel it. You're there with it. You're not resisting anything. This card deals with the solar plexus chakra, so this is the I can statement and believing in yourself. This card, it points to good luck, destiny, chance, karma, soulmates, decisive moments, cycles of fate, fortune, upheaval, chance, gambling. You cannot step into the same river twice. And the number on this card is 10. That's a number of completion. Completion of a karmic cycle. On the bottom of that deck, we have 7 of Cups. Oh, and also, the planet that we had on this card was Jupiter. You are in a lucky era of life, and like you are attracting luck and abundance. This is prosperity that's coming to you. I'm just hearing out of destiny, honestly. I think I'm hearing you're right where you're supposed to be at this moment. So you can rest, you can breathe, take a breath. This planet, though, Jupiter, deals with expansion and prosperity. So I think those are focuses of yours at the moment, is expansion. You're on this bridge, but the place that you're going, and that's narrow. Okay, you're on a corridor right now. You're in a corridor right now. But what it opens up to in the end, the light at the end of the tunnel, when you get through the end of the tunnel, the world opens. So this card here deals with, and what's interesting is this card also deals with the solar plexus chakra, but it's in the reverse. So I think what you're coming from is believing you couldn't, but now you believe you can. This card deals with the upside down dreams, really. Venus turned on its head. Seduction, I'm hearing. This card explicitly reads reality, clarity, sobriety, poor choices, lack of choice, opportunities or options. So just as some confirmation, we had pulled out of this deck straight hair and also, ironically, bald. But I will let you do what you will with those symbols. From my Moons deck, we received the card Waning Gibbous Moon. This card represents purgatory. This is that corridor we're in. This is the bridge we're on. Trapped between worlds, this card reads. Slow process of release and transition, reflecting, waiting, contemplating. And this is reminding me of your Not a Rush Oracle card. Not a race. And just the fact that, like I said, you're in the right place at the right time, and all of this is due. You had to be awakened. Okay, so if it wasn't this experience, I'm sure some other experience perhaps would have triggered it. But, this weight, and I feel like sometimes you're like, should I drop all this weight? Should I just drop all this weight? And the nobility in you is saying, no, you shouldn't just drop all this weight. But also, I think you carrying this weight with you across the bridge, it's all natural. It's all part of the process. And on the bottom of this, which is interesting because I didn't know, I just put blank, unlabeled as far as moon phases goes, cards in this deck. But here we have Zeal, passion that burns through all. That is your era at the moment. An era of zealousness. And for additional confirmation, we have South Node and Aquarius here. South Node represents past experiences and innate skills. Aquarius is innovative, intellectual, and detached. So we also had on the bottom of this deck, though, Venus and Taurus. So this is dealing with love and relationships in a sensual, loyal, affectionate, and practical way. And I've noticed I'm inherently laying these, or just naturally laying these cards on the Sweet Pea card there. So perhaps this past experience and innate skill, I really believe this relationship that you're leaving behind, or this relationship that sort of left its mark on you, if you will, is the thing that you're leaving behind. Because as you remember earlier, the Sweet Pea card said goodbye, thank you for the lovely time. And this Aquarius and South Node card discusses past experiences, Venus, love, and relationships. I think you're someone who is just very noble and very loyal. So you've had issue, and like I said earlier, at some point, you're also have been rather isolated, or you have felt like that with this issue. So in being noble and being loyal and in being isolated, this has been very challenging for you to navigate. We also had come out earlier, as additional confirmation, the heart chakra primarily. And then on the bottom of the deck, the sacral chakra. So I do think this process affected your heart chakra. I do think you have a wound there, or you dealt with a wound there and are dealing with a wound there. And this wound activated your sacral chakra, which is actually, how you are taking each step across the bridge is by creating. Every step you take across the bridge is created by you. We also have here on this card is just a duality deck. So every card has a top and bottom, and opposite, a word with an opposite quality, featured on the top or bottom. So we had come out for you high, and this card had high and low. So for you, we had high. I think, I just heard high notes. You are, despite how heavy your wares are and you're making your way across your bridge, you're very aware. And so I think you're making this journey and you're singing your way across the bridge, whistling your way across the bridge. And we have here endurance. And the bottom of this card says hardship. You are enduring through hardship right now. That is undeniable. Additionally, we have for you here the Ace of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. You are at the very beginning of something new. I feel like I just heard washing your heart clean. I think, you are in the process of, and I just got the image of a washboard. I think this situation was very rough on you, and, I think you had a tired heart from it, but you are nursing your heart back to health. And I accidentally just did that thing again while I was holding the deck. I accidentally shuffled what was in the bottom that I had prepared from earlier back into the deck. But as I was doing that, we had the Magician come out, Four of Wands, the Lovers, and the Hierophant come out. Are you kidding me? On the bottom of the deck, we have the Hermit. So you are someone that is using everything at your disposal to make your infinite happen. You are making the impossible possible by just using everything at your disposal, and maybe you're using things maybe even unconventionally. I'm hearing celebration is coming, and soulmates are waiting for you in line. Like, you have a soul like tribe coming for you, I'm hearing. And I just heard the letter Z for some reason, Z. So maybe there's like your name or something significant with a Z, or like a word that's significant that hits the Z really hard. I think this situation has brought you a lot of wisdom, and it was inevitable that you going through this brought you to like your place in time and history that was destined. And that's still to come, to be honest with you, though all of this so far feels very destined. And so we have here also Waterfall, representing releasing and cleansing. This card reads emotional release, renewal, the power of surrender, and natural flow. You know, I do get the sense that you are trying to more freely express your emotions, not hold your emotions, not hide your emotions so much. 8 on the clock as I say that, 8 on my timer. And on the bottom of that deck, we have Anchor, representing stability, grounding, security, steadfastness, finding your center, and holding steady during storms. I think this storm is what helped you find your anchor, because it whipped your boat around so much that you couldn't help but be like, like when a dog is like chained up to like a post, if they like run to the end of the chain, it like kind of pulls them, it like will choke them back. You know, I feel like this storm whipped your boat around so ferociously that you couldn't help but find your anchor within the depths of all this. And I'm like seeing like this anchor was in deep ocean. Okay, you had to like retrieve this thing. It was hidden from sight and mind. And we have here for additional messages. I feel guilty, and you are my better half. And just naturally, I lay that on 3 of Swords. So I do feel like this is messages from this person. We also have a couple of songs here. We have Talk to Me by Sunny and the Sunliners. This song is off the album Talk to Me. And the quote from the song is, "Let me hear, tell me dear, tell me oh, you love me so." You know, I think in the beginning of this, when this happened, before you started to transform, I think you spent a moment just like wanting the fantasy to be true again, wanting the fantasy to be uncrumbled, and I'm getting the image of like a snowball that's been made out of sand, and it's like become uncrumbled, and you're like trying to pack it back together so desperately, but it inevitably crumbles in your hand again, and it even crumbles through, and it's like you can't help but look at the reality for what it is. It's not a snowball. We also had Semi-Charmed Life come out by Third Eye Blind. This album was released in 1997. Maybe that's a prominent year for you, or a meaningful year, or symbolism there just amongst the numbers. This album was also on Third Eye Blind. Double confirmation there. Talk to Me song off Talk to Me album. Third Eye Blind song off Third Eye Blind album. Like, these are like doubly confirmation here. She's got her jaws now locked down in a smile, but nothing is all right. This card reads. So maybe you've been hiding your pain, and you can't help but, as we discussed earlier, because you are quite the noble figure and you care a lot. So I think, you don't, and also you're quite guarded. So I don't think you wanted to let people know you were pained because you didn't want to cue them into some sort of burden in their space. And also you didn't want to cue people into the energetic changes that you witnessed. So on the bottom of that deck, we had Cokes and Botany by Gus Dapperton. This is off the album Where Poly People Go to Read. The lyrics on this card read, "Cokes and Botany, I won't let on to be odd. I'm a lot of words for a wannabe. Far broken, honestly. You're all I want to be. I'll stay prodding. Remorseful astronomy, oh." I get the sense that someone sold you like a false destiny. And like now that situation has turned on them, and they're the ones sitting in, really they're the ones that rest within the aftermath because you leave the aftermath behind. So they're the ones left with the mess of the circumstances, and you know, whether they choose to face that or not, but is their choice. I am getting the feeling that these people are almost saddened by the fact that they're almost saddened that their own lies aren't true. You know, they spend a lot of time spinning these narratives to you, and now I get the sense that now that they've flipped on, they're no longer able to sell this narrative. You know, they almost don't want it to be a lie anymore. They want it to be true. They need it to be true, and they're saddened that this isn't true. And you know, this reality, this I feel like this is really their karma. We have for you, this card reads, Curse of Silence strips away your voice and ability to communicate. That may have been the situation with this person. This may be a blockage that's coming unblocked by this circumstance. You know, I do feel like I mentioned to you earlier, you need to put yourself out there more. So these are perhaps the curses that, should you make no change, though don't worry because I don't feel like you're in that position. These are the curses that you would live by, and you know, perhaps curses that may even become generational. But we have Curse of Silence. We've discussed that. We also had on the bottom of the deck here, Curse of Loneliness. Isolates you emotionally from others. Okay, this is not your fate. This is not your destiny. So these aren't things we want to accept for ourselves. Angel numbers, we have Awakening, 1111. This card represents spiritual doors are opening. Pay attention. We also have the card 55 representing major change. Big transformations are coming. Embrace them. Additionally, from this separate deck, we have the Ladybug card representing luck. It reads, Good fortune is on your side. Trust the process. And on the bottom of this deck, we have Jewel Beetle. Jewel Beetle representing rarity. Recognize your rare qualities and let your individuality shine brightly. Don't be scared to shine. You know that you are supposed to be out in the public eye. You know you are supposed to be out there. You know you are supposed to be putting your work out there. And just a hidden message that sort of made its way to the forefront from this deck. We also have Orchid Mantis representing beauty and deception. Appearances can be deceiving. Trust your instincts to discern the truth. And you know, I don't know why I have been using that word so much here lately. Discerning, discernment. Like, I think it's something to just pay attention for you, pile one. Discernment. And from our very last deck, holy cow, I can't believe we've made it. We have, interestingly enough, because these are just like goddess figures, okay? Goddess figures. So, but interestingly enough, because they're all different, you know, the warrior, the tempest, the philosopher, the enchanter, the mother, the farmer, the herald, they're all different. We pulled for you, okay, a sage card, and then on the bottom of the deck, also a sage card. So, this top card that we pulled, it represents elder with staff and scrolls. Symbolism being knowledge and teaching. Maybe you have something. So, my camera overheated earlier, again, randomly, as I was delivering the last of our messages. I believe I was saying that you have something to bring to the world, a knowledge to bring to the world, but we have here with this sage card, representation being elder with staff, scrolls, symbolism being knowledge, teaching, keywords being wisdom, teaching, symbols here being book, symbols in general, animal being owl, and plant being sage. And this card on the bottom of the deck, also the sage. This card symbol is a wise deity with a staff. The symbolism here is knowledge and teaching, keywords being wisdom and learning, symbols being book, staff, animals and plants, again being owl and sage. You know, I feel like you are naturally a student and you will always be a student, but I feel like this time for you is about transitioning into the role of teacher, continuing to be a student, but transitioning from student to teacher more strongly. With the heart and sacral chakras, so the heart chakra, the color associated with this is going to be green. This chakra deals with love, attachment, compassion, trust, and passion. The stones that could be helpful for you at this time in relation to this chakra, the heart chakra, is rose quartz, jade, green calcite, and green tourmaline. And with the sacral chakra. We have the color associated here as orange, and this chakra represents sexuality, desires, creativity, and self-worth. The stones here that are helpful for this chakra are citrine, carnelian, moonstone, and coral. So these are the chakras that you are most closely working with and through at this time. And so this is the last portion of our reading, pile 1. So we have charms, crystals, a piece out of my bug collection, and some smaller crystals here. But let's go over these a bit. So stone wise, we have a clear quartz tumbled stone. We also have garnet. We have a labradorite crystal star, and from my bug collection we have this butterfly wing. It's a little tattered. Let me look up what variety this is though. So this is actually really, really cool because I didn't know this myself. You know, I don't usually take the time to, I want to, I just don't usually take the time to research the bug pieces that I'm gathering. I just gather them. But this is actually, it seems to be the under wing that goes hidden when, it's actually a moth wing. And so typically on moths, like on a lot of moths where I'm from anyways, you see just gray usually, but there's a wing underneath. I didn't actually know that. On some of them there's like an underwing. I don't know if all of them, but this is actually a moth like underwing and it goes hidden. And yeah, I came across this the first image that kind of took me through this was called Sleepy Underwing. And it's interesting because with your pile 1, we actually started with like a dream deck, and we've been talking a lot about dreams, and I think it's cool that this is something that's, even despite my interest in bugs so heavily and my knowledge of insects, that I mistook this for a butterfly wing when it's something that I didn't know about, an underwing of a moth. I'll let you dissect that however much more you want, but going into your charms here, we have a rabbit charm. They're smiling and they seem content. You know, I think you are pacing your way happily towards where you're going. We have a dragonfly, just reminding me of the impermanence. And I'm being called again as a reminder for you just about how much spiritual protection and just divine protection you have while you're on this path. We also have dolphin here. I personally have dolphin as one of my spirit animals. You may be highly emotional, intelligent yourself, always have been, and this situation may be, sharpening that tool of yours. You may also have dolphin or dragonfly or fish. You know, there's a lot of ocean symbology here. You may have like an ocean animal as a spirit animal. We also have anchor here and a palm with the Star of David in it. This may actually be, is that like, is that a Hamsa palm? Let me see what that is. I don't know what that is. I just saw this for the first time the other day, but Hamsa, I don't think it is. I mean, it kind of is. Like, the hand is like a Hamsa hand, but then there's like a Star of David in it. And there's a heart here with a paw print on it. Like, I feel like you have a living or not, pet companion as a spirit guide, a spirit protector, like a watcher. Someone that watches over you, like, for protection. And this brought you a lot of comfort during this time. And lastly, we have this star with another star within it. And I think you've always known you are special, but the truth is this time is about revealing how special you are, because it's beyond the capacity that you've even have marked out. And this is sort of like an archaeology dig. But we are going to leave your message there for now, Pile 1. That was amazing. I hope it was just as amazing for you. Helpful and informative. If it was, don't forget to like, leave your thoughts in the comments, and definitely subscribe so I can see you again. For now though, bye! Hello Pile 2, and welcome to your mystery reading. We will be pulling from every deck, if I haven't already mentioned that. I have just woken up. This is day 2, so Pile 1 took quite some time, but it was really fun and really extensive, and I'm actually getting already downloads for your pile and Pile 3 that are really distinct from one another, so that's exciting. But I wanted to jump into the things that I've been receiving before we even begin. So for your pile 2, I heard Island in the Sun, and I believe that's by Weezer, but I didn't look that up. And Stir It Up, and I believe that's by Bob Marley, but I also didn't look that up. I did feel that you are quite the passive energy, easygoing and fluid, and your energy had a blue-green element to it. And I also picked up pile 2 that you may have observed, studied, internalized, and took interest in what was considered sex appeal of the 2000s and French sex appeal as well. And I heard French noir and femme fatale. So let's just jump into it. Let me take a sip of my water before we begin. I think you're really fun to be around, and your energy, it's really beautiful and pretty, and it has like this bubble quality to it. Like, you know how a bubble has and an oil sheen has that iridescence to it? Your energy has that glisten and that iridescence to it, and it's really pretty. And you know, like when you're shopping and you see something shiny, that's what your energy feels like to other people, other energies. Like it really draws you to it, like you can't help but notice it. This is week 2 for me on veganism. I've never done it before. For some reason I feel compelled to share that with your pile. So I get the sense that your pile eats a lot of like salads for some reason, and takes care of their health, and maybe does like yoga practices, or has some, like I'm hearing Pilates, like has some sort of practice where you move your body. The Emperor almost flipped out there. So we have on the bottom of the deck 2 of Wands. I really feel like you just have the world at your fingertips. I feel like you travel a lot, or you want to travel a lot. I feel like I'm hearing you've always wanted to travel the world. I think you are on the flip side of some burden and possibly burdens. And I think you're the type to do your best to release what's not yours from you. At the moment, you may be focusing a lot on nurturing yourself and your immediate environment around you. And I know immediate environment sounds sort of redundant, or like around you sounds sort of redundant, but I'm getting the feeling that you sort of, the things that you do to spruce up your energy, to spruce up your environment, I get the sense that you sort of leave that in the wake of you, like wherever you go. And I think you are ultimately working to be in the position to help others, but at the moment, you might feel like yourself, you need a little bit of help. That's totally okay. For songs, we have Goodie Bag by Still Woozy off the Goodie Bag album. And the lyrics we have are, you know I want to be everything that you need, but I'm starting to see, you know I want to be above everything, but I'm just not there yet. I get the sense that you're climbing to something. We also have Every Morning by Sugar Ray, and the album here is called 1459. 1459. I remember when I looked up that it meant something. So 1459 represents the time 2:59 p.m. on a 24-hour clock, where 14 signifies 2 p.m. and 59 signifies 59. But in this context, I believe Sugar Ray was discussing 15 minutes of fame, which was coined by Andy Warhol, and is said to be a self-deprecating reference, apparently, because I guess at the time, critics of Sugar Ray said they were quote-unquote riding a wave of their 15 minutes of fame. So I guess they were sort of like nodding to that on the album title. But the lyrics here say, every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's 4-post bed. I know it's not mine, but I'll see if I can use it for the weekend or a one-night stand. Something so deceiving, when you stop believing, turned me around again. Said we couldn't do it, you know I want to do it again. You know, it's interesting because to me, these lyrics are oscillating between like love and lust and heartbreak. On the bottom of this deck, we have Missing Out by Maya Hawke. off the Chaos Angel album, and the lyric is simply, "And now I know it's me who's missing out." So I feel like something's been revealed to you. 555 on my timer. I feel like something was revealed to you. As I looked at my timer there, like the second time, it was 544. I feel like something was revealed to you that like took you back, was a step back, it felt like. You have like a very musical energy, and it's not that it has a tune per se to it. It has almost like the tune is very misty, like you can't really catch a tune. There's no tune per se, but it makes me want to hum. And so we have here Eclipse representing terror, a fear that paralyzes. Sudden and overwhelming fear that eclipses all sense of safety, casting shadow over heart and mind. And also devotion, a love that defies logic. Ooh, a little bit heavy here. So I feel like more explicitly, someone that you are devoted to entirely. There was once a sense of safety, and now there's a sense of terror, perhaps. And I think the circumstances are very passionate and I'm hearing volatile even. Rocky. Let's see what wanted to come out there. The creative child, Page of Cups, a young relative with a compassionate and imaginative nature. There's some I'm getting the image of like, when you're hiking in the woods. When you're hiking in the woods and there might be like a tree over the path and you have to go over, or maybe it's landed on a bit of a hill so you have to go under, and I'm feeling like you have like a log in your path and you have to figure out to go over or under. I feel like you just have to step over it. We have reversed the empathetic mother, Queen of Cups, a maternal figure providing emotional support and care. The wise mentor, King of Cups, a father or mentor, elder who offers emotional wisdom and stability. And reversed, these were all reversed, okay? This looks like a broken family unit to me. The ideal family unit, because this is reversed, 10 of Cups, a family that embodies harmony, happiness, emotional fulfillment. Okay, so this is obviously going to be the opposite of those qualities. So I'm getting the sense of someone who I'm just hearing broken home, and wow, you have a really big heart. I'm just seeing all that you come from, and you are interested really in just helping people. That's like the focus of your life, really. You're really loving. And I don't know why I shuffled that again. I was noticing yesterday, because as I was pulling cards out of each deck, I was setting the bottom of the deck down. And occasionally, if I get to chatting and stuff, I'll start shuffling again. But, there's just a different message that needs to come through. But we land on the Resting Healer. Okay, I had to restart, our, record session because I'm timed. But I forget what I was saying there, but we'll just go ahead and pull from our next deck. On the bottom of the deck, when I picked it up, it said shipwrecked, and I did hear stranded, so maybe you felt stranded by... We have here Mermaid's Harp, music, harmony, creativity, emotional expression through art, harmony in life, soothing energies. This is very much your energy. I think that's something that keeps people returning, is your creativity, your emotional expression, how vulnerable you are, how honest you are, how expressive you are, how harmonious you are, and soothing. You're so comforting to be in the energy of. We also have sea caves, sanctuary, and introspection is what it represents. This card discusses safe haven, retreat into self, hidden depths, protection from the outside world. I do get the sense, and I just saw a mermaid swimming into a cove in my mind's eye. I do get the sense that you retreated into self. I just heard you're waiting at the station. I feel like you're waiting at the station and you're holding on to something for stability while you wait. We have Stormy Sea here discussing turmoil and challenge, emotional upheaval, trials, testing strength, eventual calm. I think what was revealed to you is that someone wasn't what they seemed to be. Upside down in the reverse, we have Sand Dollar discussing faith, spiritual evolution, serenity, divine guidance, balance, connection to the divine. I think before this circumstance, you may have had an interest in astrology, for example, and like maybe things to deal with like natural science, I'm hearing for some reason. Like collecting crystals and rocks and being interested in like insects or like just animals. I think, not having serenity is what pushed you actually to your spirituality. And it brought about a hidden strength that you were unaware of. But I think the world always saw in you. You've become more flexible and nourished through this. And you continue to grow and adapt, and you continue to become more flexible and more nourished, and you continue to grow stronger. You have an incredible emotional depth. I think you are by nature incredibly empathic. I'm getting the image in my mind's eye of someone holding a baby bunny and just being really gentle with it and like petting it down its head and back, and the bunny just sort of sitting there and just relaxing in the comfort of it all. As of late and into your most recent time, I think a lot of your emotional depth has been a growth that you've achieved, a level that you've achieved due to a certain amount of introspection that you've done. And I didn't intend to, but naturally I did pull again from that deck, and we have here treacherous waters, risk, danger, caution, hidden threats, navigating challenges, facing fears. And I'm being called back to you being at this station, holding on to something for stability. Much like here, where they just have to step over this ledge in the Two of Wands, and they're holding on to a wand here, and they have the world in their hands, and there's a wand beside them. There's things indicating some level of stability, some level of resource, some level of balance amongst the treacherous waters. I am being called to how in Two of Wands, the water almost looks like it's receding, and it's like the balance and the calm comes when these treacherous waters, like the tide goes out. And it's like right now you're managing like when the tide comes in. It's almost, I feel like you live on shore, like emotionally and symbolically, and like the circumstances of what you're in at the moment. And it's like each day you have to maybe prepare for the tide. I think you very much do your best to nurture and nourish yourself. I do have here coming to my attention daily life issues and overwhelm. But I think you're doing your best actually to comfort yourself during all this and to nourish yourself. Not just comfort yourself into delusion, into a state of oblivion from comfort. Comfort yourself so that you have the strength to overcome and the energy to adapt. So we have here financial and professional issues, debt and unemployment. You may literally face these problems, but more specifically, more pointedly, what is coming to my attention here is just, I think this pile is facing a lack of security, a lack of financial security, maybe even a lack of home security. I think you do everything you can to manage hopelessness, because I think your situation could call for it if you just allowed yourself to be defeated. I think in your family unit, in this family unit, this may not be a blood family. This can be a work dynamic or a friendship dynamic, or like this can even be a dynamic with neighbors. So just take it how it fits. But I think there is some element of confusion around the King of Cups figure and the wise mentor figure. And maybe there was an illusion there. And I think also in this dynamic, it had a sort of traditional structure despite the brokenness to it, whereby the wise mentor King of Cups figure was still the leading energy. So at least that's traditional by my American standards, I guess. I consider, I don't know, I guess, I was almost like, would you call America a patriarchy? And then I was like, is that a super silly question to ask? Because of course, right? But it's almost so pervasive, I had to still ask myself. And then I almost feel like maybe this wise mentor, King of Cups energy, the energy was maybe, you know, I don't want to say controlling because it went unnoticed, but maybe dominating and at the head of things in a way that was so pervasive that it went unnoticed, the presence at all, perhaps. I'm not really sure how to dissect that differently at the moment. Definitely, though, there is a confirmation for this pile, though, of just the change that you're going through and being on the precipice of something. 4:59 on my timer as I say that. So, this is interesting. But we have the Curse of Vanity, Curse of Sloth, Curse of Sorrow showing up. Curse of Vanity, so this curse would blind you. You know, these are going to be karmic curses that we're dealing with in the circumstance. Okay, these can be karmic curses that we're engaged with. These can be karmic curses that haven't played out. Let's dissect this. We have Curse of Vanity, which blinds you with excessive pride and self-obsession. This may have been the illusion that was present, but you will know how these karmic curses, you know, are playing out in your storyline, but this is how I'm definitely picking this up. Curse of Sorrow drowns you in deep sadness and grief. Curse of Sloth drains your energy and will to act. You know, I feel like this Curse of Vanity, as I said, was possibly an illusion that you've dealt with externally. The Curse of Sloth feels like an entity that currently drains you, that you have to actively like combat, and I don't think it's an entity that's yours, but I do think it's an entity that wants to latch onto you. But, you know, I just feel like you do practices that raise your vibration and make it more difficult for things like this to attach, and I think you are successful at not allowing them to. And I think in doing this, you are avoiding Curse of Sorrow. And I think you are very conscious of that. You know, I think you felt deep pain and you were like, this is not my future. I think you're aware of time and like the future being now, and you felt a deep, like, I'm just hearing a shock to the heart, a tremor to the heart, a shock to the gut, a shot to the gut. Something took you out. Something destabilized you and like just set your nerves on fire, I'm hearing. But it was like, I'm just hearing as well, it was a timed cycle. Like, this was set to start at some point and it was set to end. And like, everything has a time and you're right on time and you continue to be on time. And despite all the timed nature to all of this, you actually have like, again, just a very passive, fluid energy. I don't feel like you're in a rush. Also, if I didn't mention it earlier, this pile has like a lot of sex appeal outwardly. I know I did mention earlier at the very beginning that you may have an interest in like 2000s, or you may have had an interest in 2000s and French ideas of sex appeal. And I'm just getting that your pile in general has a lot of sex appeal to others. You may like Nacho Libre. I just heard like Nacho. You may have been dealing with someone's ego, someone who wanted to appear inflated to you, and you believed in like the magic of it all. And from my meme deck, we have Irma Gerd, and this meme is representing Knight of Swords. So I'm getting just like ambush energy here, and like, where is this coming from? And we have also on the bottom of this deck, Nicholas Fraser, I suppose his last name is pronounced. Why You Always Lying, representing the Devil card. Why you always lying? I just heard you being like, stop lying. And I'm actually hearing this to that one song that's to the tune of, this song is like, I think it's strange, but that's just me. But it's to the song of that one song that's like, hold on, let me look it up. You may have a very graceful posture. I do feel like your energy is very soft and like graceful as well. It's called Too Close by Next. You know, I don't know if it's just like, I don't know. That song to me. Okay, y'all, I just won't even get into it, but we, okay. So there's definitely like a lot of, in this relationship that, you know, there seems to have been a breakdown in, there was a lot of lust. Oh, on the bottom of the deck, Lost Love. And I'm putting that beside just inherently and naturally, you know, without thinking, beside the resting healer. Four of Swords, a relative taking time to recuperate or reflect. That's you. I think you're doing that from lost love. I keep being called to the root chakra. We have here North Node in Virgo, Saturn in Virgo, Mars in Sagittarius, Mars in Aquarius. So this is going to discuss energies surrounding your life purpose, discipline, how you're disciplining yourself, the discipline you're facing, and the challenges that you have in your life, as well as the energy of the moment. North Node, interestingly enough, you know, I believe this is actually my North Node in Virgo. We have here, though, life purpose and destiny is to seek order, serve others, develop analytical skills. You know, we did discuss that earlier. I feel like you are just on the path of like being able to help others, but you're sort of in the spot right now where you kind of need help yourself, which is just a soft and gentle and very vulnerable place to be. It's very, your energy is so beautiful and sort of needs a shell at the moment. Really. Your discipline and the way that you're facing challenges at the moment, you're being highly independent. You're being innovative. You're being unconventional, perhaps. You're forcing yourself, even if you don't have energy, to have energy. You're remaining optimistic in the face of all of this, and you're incredibly practical. You keep an eye on the details, and it moves. You know, I'm just getting the, like, in my mind's eye, the image of, like, just knots being formed steadily. Maybe, like, crochet, or just, you know, if you were just to knot steadily along this thread even. Like, there is a steady progress to you in the path that you're on. So it's why you can rest a little easily. You know, I keep getting the image of turtles, and like I'm hearing again now, so I'm just gonna say it. Tortoise. Tortoise. Oh my goodness. Okay, so all of this sums up to, though, you are incredibly hardworking. That's undeniable. So it's interesting. You know, I'm getting the image of someone that's like a saint, or like, what's those, the name of the women, I think they were just women, but they used to like brick themselves into walls, and I'm getting like, why am I hearing incumbent? I think that's a political term, not what I'm thinking of, but maybe it's close. And they used to brick themselves into walls and just live in this bricked in little closet, essentially, on the outside of like churches, I guess, and they're just there to answer prayer. They're like nuns, and they just like answer prayers and questions, I guess, from the public, in like this little slit where I guess a single brick would go. You know, maybe they're not all so dramatic, but I'm getting the energy of like that's sort of where you're at. You know, you need like your bricked in situation to guard like your sanctity. I'm hearing like your purity and your innocence and like the path that you're on, and yes, your purity, and you might be celibate or practicing celibacy in some, you know, level. It doesn't have to be full blown, you know, maybe it's just like celibacy of the self. We have victory here and dry. And I'm just coming back to how we discussed a second ago, your discipline. I do feel like this is just ensuring like your victory in the matter. We have here human resources, management, people relations, briefcase, employee icon, handshake being the associated keywords. You know, I think right now you are potentially in a place where you are managing the resources you have, and you're doing your best with those resources to create the relations you need to get to where you're going. And I don't know why. I'm seeing also, just real fast, I'm seeing also these connections and these relations and these resources that you're utilizing at the moment and you're making the most of at the moment. This is what you swam up to out of that cave that you retreated into. You know, earlier I talked about how I got the image of like a mermaid swimming into like a deep sea cave. You know, when you came out of that cave, this is what you came up with. You came up with these resources, and you're going to make the most of these resources, and you're trying to make relations. And I don't know why, but I read this originally as water waitress, and I'm getting the image of just beach, and I just heard like beach babe, and you know that whole like Key West kitten aesthetic that like was like a thing for a second. Like I'm totally getting that vibe where it's just like hibiscus and tropical and slow, and you know, just that vibe. We have here service, hospitality, interaction, tray, plate, menu. It's interesting how like so much of your reading points to just like serving others. Like I honestly feel like that's like your purpose. Something of your purpose is, you know, it serves others. We have here, this is a deck that I created inspired off of like Snow White imagery. I'm being compelled to say that for some reason, so like maybe that movie is like a confirmation for you, or there's a message within the storyline. Also, 333 on the timer as I say this, but you may really like blueberries and also lemon water, or just like flavored water, like naturally flavored water. You may be the type to have really close friendships, so one-on-one friendships for the most part, or have groups of 3 as friendships. That's also, I'm getting the vibe of that. Also, something to do with strawberry and strawberry shortcake, and specifically on that one, a memory with it. A memory of something to do with strawberry or strawberry shortcake. So we have from this Snow White deck, we have, I just went on like, maybe this is relevant too, by the way. My cat was just in my room a second ago, but when I turned around I didn't see him, and I just went to like go check on them to make sure they were like okay. And I looked everywhere, and I started to look kind of frantically, and I looked everywhere twice, and I started to look everywhere a third time, and then I finally found them in a place that I had looked like maybe originally. So maybe that's something that's you know, maybe there's a message there. But we have the escape here from the escape, the journey, and 2 of Crowns from the Snow White deck. So on the escape, we have fleeing danger, a bird breaking free from its cage. That's you. Freedom, liberation. That's the process you're going through. Sometimes survival means knowing when to fly, is the quote on this card. You know, and I think that has to do with this love, lust, heartbreak energy. There's a unknown timing element to this, which is very interesting and very paradoxical. And honestly, those moments there, for me, I find a lot of beauty in like those moments, even during like the challenge of it, and just, but you know, I just feel like that's life unfolding, and this process is surely to unfold in your favor as far as I see it. And you know, it's a painful process, but the most beautiful things come after storms and pressure and hardship, and that's not a justification, but it is a source of clarity, and in my eyes then a source of light. You know, sometimes something that seems harsh can be a source of light, even because it is a source of clarity. Sometimes the truth is hard. We have here, you know, I think that's something. So my camera overheated as I was making that last statement. I forget precisely what I was saying, but I was gonna say that, you know, I think it was something just close to, I think you're no stranger to hard truths, because the very next card that we have to go over is the journey. The imagery being forest, a path winding through dense trees, unknown paths, personal growth. The quote here being, the darkest journeys reveal the brightest truths. Bottom of this deck we have 2 of Crowns representing a power energy, the image being 2 crowns facing each other, balance of power, partnership, and cooperation being the partnerships and cooperation being the keywords here. And the quote is, power is best when shared, but balance of power, partnership is key to harmony. You know, maybe there was an unbalanced power dynamic here, upheld by illusions. So I went ahead and pulled these 2 chakra cards for your pile, because this is what I was channeling for yours. We are dealing with here energies surrounding the root and 3rd eye chakra for your pile. This deals with statements as far as the root goes, such as I have, and for 3rd eye chakra, I see. And that is a, you know, a wisdom more than it is like seeing with your eyes. So you may have literally seen something that awakened you consciously. The colors associated with the 3rd eye chakra are indigo, and this chakra represents intelligence, intuition, understanding, insight, and self-knowledge. Stones related to it are amethyst, purple fluorite, and black obsidian. When it comes to the root chakra, the color we're dealing with here is red. It represents, this chakra does, survival, stability, ambition, and self-sufficiency. These are themes that you are working through at the moment. Themes of these chakras. Stones related to the root chakra include bloodstone, tiger's eye, hematite, fire agate, and black tourmaline. You're going through a process of rebirth. You're embracing the cycle as it comes to you. We have cicada showing itself in your cards. The symbolism here being resurrection. And this card reads, a fresh start is upon you now. Allow yourself to rise again with newfound strength. This glowworm, and you may have some connections to Egypt or some, that may be physical or spiritual. The glowworm card here represents guidance. Share your wisdom and shine your light to guide those who seek help. Maybe something you've been through is directly what influences the help that you want to give others. And lastly, we have moth attraction to light. Seek inner wisdom and avoid being misled by temporary allurements. I get the sense that you're doing very well at that. I think given all that we've pulled so far, you aren't struggling with discipline at the moment. You're remaining very diligent in your discipline. And oh my goodness, this praying mantis on the bottom of the deck here represents discipline. With discipline and focus, you can accomplish your goals. And I told you earlier, Pile 2, I really get the sense that, given the drive that you have, because I feel it, the drive, the focus, the intensity, the passion, we're dealing a lot with root chakra here. And as I told you earlier, I believe it was this pile, I'm seeing red come through. And that's coming through energetically as both passion and volatility. I forget where I was going with that. You're turning this volatility and you're harnessing it. You're harnessing the volatility and what's it called? Is it called harness when you you're like ranching cows and you're doing that loop thing where you toss a rope around and then you loop it around their horns so you can pull them a certain direction? I feel like you're doing that with the volatility and you're steering it so that it's purposeful passion instead of just destruction. We have Archangel Jehudiel showing himself in your reading, representing divine mercy. Extend yourself to others. This actually reads extend mercy to yourself and others. So, but I do feel the sense that you are, we did talk about that earlier. You are making an effort to extend yourself. I think that is a great effort on your part right now. Like a tremendous effort. Compassion heals. Compassion heals. Compassion will heal the wound here. We also have Archangel Tahariel showing himself, representing purification. A deep cleansing is happening. Let go of what no longer serves. I think it's interesting because, as I said earlier, you are the sort of personality that doesn't struggle with letting go of what doesn't serve you. But it's almost like this one thing. You believed in it for so long because of an illusion, but it's like this thing isn't serving you anymore either, but because you held onto a truth for so long, I think you're struggling to maybe, step over that log that we talked about earlier. There's something that's keeping you from stepping over. And at the bottom of this deck, we have Duality of Change 1515. Change is bringing both challenges and blessings. This is reminding me yesterday, of something I was thinking of. And I could hear others, the voice of another in my head going, that's a blessing and a curse, and sort of insinuating not to take it because it's a curse. But I was thinking, in response, you had me at blessing, literally. I don't really fear, I guess the curse of thing, and I'm getting curse of things, and I'm sensing, despite the hardship of it and the heartbreak of it, you don't seek heartbreak. No one does that, consciously, I don't think, and, you weren't intended to consciously or subconsciously. I don't think. It's just, you have a purpose here and it's been hidden and activated, and I think you are up for the challenge, I'm hearing. So from our dream symbolism deck, we have cage. perceived limitations, feeling trapped and confined, desire for freedom or change, containment or emotions of potential. I think you've been dealing with both containment of emotions and potential, but this isn't things that you're used to. You weren't aware of this illusion until recently, and you've always been honest with and vulnerable with yourself, and this is challenging that, because it's challenging. It's making you step out of, you realize even in your challenges, you realize at this point that even in your challenges thus far, maybe you've had some level of comfort, and this challenge has stripped you away from any amount of comfort, except for maybe a tiny little shred. And I'm feeling that. This card warns, though, that staying within your comfort zone or allowing external restrictions prevents your growth. We have not tension or the feeling of keeping it together. Maybe you have a lot of pressure on your shoulders to behave a certain way, show up a certain way, perform a certain way. You have certain duties that you feel bound to. Complications, unsolvable problems, entanglement. This card warns constraints and restrictions, aka thoughts, feelings, and actions that need to be untied. It warns of those. Something needing to be detangled. And I'm being reminded of detangler as a spray and detangler brushes, and I'm feeling compelled to say that there's multiple tools, not just none and not just one, but many tools that can help the process of detangling easier. So something to just keep in mind. And then we also have birds here, representing imagination, rising above and flying above and soaring higher than lower vibrations, lower things that don't concern you, the things that you don't need to focus on, and the things that aren't yours, so you let them wash off of you. I really get that sense here with this pile. But we have freedom, spiritual enlightenment, overcoming something that's been holding you back, like fear or negative belief. Power and happiness. This is your energy. This is the energy that we need to protect at the moment, though. I'm getting the sense of, I'm being reminded of the, I don't know if it's a covenant, or I don't know why that's coming to mind. I don't know what it is, but the nun in the brick, room for life. She's bricked up in this room, and she lives there for life. I don't really know exactly how that. It would be interesting to research that a little bit more to see what the lifestyle was like. But we also have in dream symbolism key, a realization, solution, or new possibilities. Symbolizes ability to open and close doors, unlocking something. A warning against getting involved in a risky adventure. Bed, relaxation, intimacy, regeneration, love, death, and birth, a need for quiet and solitude. I feel like that's important for you right now. And I definitely get the sense that, like I said earlier, you are nurturing and nourishing. You've probably been sleeping more, making an effort to sleep more, making an effort to do more skincare, to take walks, to watch your favorite shows, to live slower. A temporary escape from the stresses of daily life, this says. A desire for security and stability. Bell, a signal to pay attention. A message you're pursuing a specific objective, but must solve a few problems first. Act with urgency. A call to order, or even a command. And 4/2/3 or May, okay, so that's actually April 23rd, May even. I'm getting like Taurus vibes, and but April 23rd for some reason may be significant to you. We have door and book here. Door representing boundaries, being confronted with changes, opportunities, or obstacles in life. You're facing something that if you were to not face it and you were to turn around, it's just gonna chase you, because then it's behind you, okay? This is something you can't not face. Though we also have here a perceived limit, a transition, can be both moving forward and stepping back. You're in this transition period, and it is very fluid, and I do think you navigate very delicately the give and take, because I don't think you're going through something so easily understood or so easily navigatable. Book here representing accumulated knowledge and memories. Opening a chapter, a need to seek knowledge that you are not yet aware of. And a desire to share your thoughts and experiences. You have something to share, and it's almost like sharing this thing would just start you fresh, start you over. We're getting 2, 2, and 0 as a confirmation on this. And we have on the bottom of our dream deck, knock. An idea, feeling, or situation asking to be let in. A message or revelation approaching. Invitation to take action. A warning that ignoring an opportunity may result in it passing you by unnoticed. I think it's never too late to do anything. It may become harder to do something. And someone I was just listening to yesterday said, nothing that is ours ever really passes us by. It's just waiting for us. I think that's an interesting perspective and perhaps a true one. Just a different one. And or not different per se, but just said differently. And yeah, I think even if you weren't to take this door as it appears to you now, I just think the door is like blaringly, it's calling you right now. It's calling you to open it and to enter and to be washed in its glare, and almost like wash you into anybody who's standing on the door frame that hasn't stepped through and isn't stepping through. They won't be able to see you. They'll be blinded by the glare of the door, and you'll be washed in the glare of the door. Like, they won't be able to witness. It's almost like you're cloaked, if you step through this door. But I feel like you're very protected. You need to know that you're protected to step through the door, because before we even pulled Archangel cards, I do feel just an Archangel presence. Okay, it doesn't have to be the ones that we pulled here, but you do have like a highly divine presence protecting you and like watching over you, and you are gonna safely make your passage. And I just heard safekeeping. It's almost like you're the package, but like the package isn't aware of itself as a package. So, but do you think if the suitcase was thinking about itself, it would be stressed about its journey? I don't know. You have a lot to offer, and you're packing a lot, and it makes you think a lot and maybe overthink. And this isn't typical to you. It's just the circumstances that you're facing, but you can rest more. I think you analyze, and you just analyze to deal with the issue, okay? But you do overanalyze. I'm hearing worry and worrywart. You may be a smoker. You're learning to balance a seriousness into your life as well as play. And you're doing your best to navigate, icy climates gracefully. And it's hard to do that when you are, practically frigid from cold, frostbitten, and numb. It's hard to move gracefully. You could resign and just shake from the chilliness of it all, and just be cold and succumb to the cold. But you just keep swimming, I'm hearing. And, you're gliding and sliding through this cold like a penguin on its belly. We have here a card bringing to my attention just a message. It says, value the fragility of life and your role within it. Navigate through emotional depths with grace. Endure with resilience, even in harsh times. That's Amur Leopard, A-M-U-R. I don't know if I said that right. I feel like this situation, something about it feels just like it was a wake-up call, and I'm being called back to that bell card here, where it was just like, it feels like it was a wake-up call. Like, suddenly you felt like you had to, I feel like an alarm, and you just like blasted up out of bed, and it's like, I have to get ready, I had to rush, that's sort of the feeling. And it's like, the feeling though, and then the thought is, you only have like one life to live, and you have to like live it. You need to make sure you're living it. And I think it was a wake-up call to be like, am I living my life? The bottom of the deck here, we have Rabbit. The message being, stay alert, but trust in your ability to act swiftly. You're finding harmony again in life, and it's through your determination. You are like determining a harmony into your life, because I think right now there's a lack of harmony. So you're like forcing harmony, as ironic as that is. And these circumstances, as I said, are causing you to reflect a lot on like what you want out of life. Are you satisfied? Are you living the life that you want? I think a lot of it has to do with, someone and what they were offering and what they claimed to be offering, and claimed to be able to offer and put up as they were offering. There was like a imbalance. And I'm hearing like a lack of delivery. We have, though, here, this is so amazing. We have the World card and then reversed Mother of Pentacles. Okay, I think this period is ultimately about you going out into the world, showing yourself, putting yourself out on the stage, and creating resource for yourself, because perhaps part of the illusion was that you didn't have the security that you believed so strongly at one point that you did. So the action that you're taking at this moment is creating that resource. Answering the knock at the door, the call to, showing your face, showing your craft. The flowers we have here are lavender, yellow jasmine, daisy, and purple hyacinth. This deals with topics of distrust, grace, elegance, innocence, loyal love, I'll never tell, and sorrow. Delicate yet sturdy is coming to my attention, and secrets made and kept, secrets tossed away, I'm hearing. And I just heard someone ate the forbidden fruit. Yellow jasmine, I'm picking up yellow jasmine. It represents your energy. This is talking about grace and elegance. This flower is highly toxic if you eat it. So I'm just hearing like, look but don't touch. And delicate yet sturdy, and I don't know why, but like a paper handmade fan is coming to my mind's eye, and like hot air, and like just fanning yourself with like a paper fan or like a handmade fan, an impromptu fan. There's something here in your pile about just like very basic needs not being met, and something about there being just a loose energy or an undisciplined energy or approach to life. And I just heard like nonchalance and avoidance. For messages, we have, I didn't value you enough. I'm sorry. I wish things were different. And inherently, I put I didn't value enough, I'm sorry, on top of the World card. This is probably the circumstances that push you to put yourself out there, put your work out there, see things differently, change things up. I wish things were different. This past person is going to be jealous of the new passion in your life, whether that's a person or a place or a thing. Like, it's probably going to be a craft or an interest I'm hearing. They said, I wanted to make you proud. I'm getting there is an element of impressive, like wanting to impress another here. I know what I did was wrong. And what's interesting is when I made this and I kept it just like this, I actually made it a mistake, but I kept it like this because when I pull this card, everything has a meaning and everything has a symbol, and I love looking into symbolism, especially during readings. This reads with mistake. I know what I did wrong. They know what they did was wrong. They view it though as did what they did. And I think at one point they also maybe tried to play maybe coy. And this was damaging. I'm getting what I did. And I'm hearing it just like that. What I did. Like a child. When things might have been alarmingly obvious, they play coy. When you were trying to seek clarity, I think, as well, so they had an opportunity to clear things up. Clear the fog, I'm hearing. In reverse, we have, you are my best friend. So at one point, I do think you were best friends with this person, but the circumstances have soured the purity of the relationship. We have here 18, and when I'm thinking of that number right now, I'm just thinking of things coming to maturity. So it's like this thing, and talking about earlier topics, we discussed cycles. There is an element of cycle here, and like something in timing, I believe. Something maturing, cooking, like there's an element of that here. This card also deals with the third eye chakra. So just a confirmation again that this has been like an awakening for you, opening your third eye. And I'm being compelled to tell you that you can open and close that at will. You can say, I just say I'm open. Literally, I'll just say like open my third eye mentally, and if I want to close it off because I'm feeling like overstimulated, I'll just shut it off. Like I just will think that it's shut off. But whatever works for you, because that's essentially what will be most powerful for you. So however you need to think about it to open and close it, but you can do that if you didn't know. I'm just being compelled to say that. But so we also have here Pisces, So this is running from February 19th to March 20th. And Neptune, this is dealing with, I'm hearing dreams. So maybe, dreams you had at one point, but more literally ideals and intuition. You are processing, this is a very analytical time for you, an over analytical time for you. But it's rightfully so, okay? Because it's a time you are developing your intuition, dealing with illusions, banishing illusions, cultivating dreams, manifesting dreams, bringing clarity where there is vagueness, bringing stability where there is instability, dealing with deception, battling anxiety and fear, misconceptions, subconscious insecurities, seeking clarity in that. Past conditioning affects present behaviors. Dealing with these cycles. Things are not what they seem. This card reads here, the path may not be clear, but my intuition lights the way one step at a time. I'm being called to just say part of this overthinking of yours has certainly been just a natural and unavoidable process of you bettering and strengthening and growing your intuition. And on the bottom of the deck, we have curiosity. And again, are you kidding me? Confirmation on the root and third eye chakra here. But on the root chakra, we have Page of Swords dealing with sun, ego, and again, here we are dealing with Gemini. This card discusses significant information, logic, fairness, ideas, inspiration, planning, vigilance, protection, and dexterity. This is certainly what you're, mulling over and working through at the moment, and the energy of you at the moment. One who is calculating and unconcerned about the feelings of others. I don't think it's that you are unempathic. It's just that I can sense that you've come to a point where truth has been used against you. And so you've had to shut off receptivity, and you're not just openly receptive, okay? You've had to use a lot more discernment on what it is that you are absorbing, and that includes the feelings of others, okay? And you are still coming at it from an empathic standpoint. You are at the moment quick and subtle, hidden, I'm hearing, and mentally and physically dexterous. You may be, you're also very independent at the moment, working your way towards success through hard work. You may be ambidextrous or practicing something with both your left and right hand at the moment. I just heard, can you forgive me? And the energy of yours that I'm feeling is just, yes, but things aren't going to look the same. I do forgive you, but things aren't going to be the same. They aren't going to go back. You've turned the page. You've started a new chapter. You're building your castle. You're building your kingdom. Alright, so here we have the castle card as well as jewel encrusted throne. That's you right now. I think you're building your throne and your castle. You already have a rightful position. It's I'm reminded of, I forget what the show is called. It's on Netflix, and it goes over King Arthur, I think. I think it might be just called Vikings. I can't remember. But one of the main guy on that show is a character actually as well on American Horror Story, so if that helps, if you know what I'm talking about. But I'm reminded of, the king in that show. He kind of loses his position on the throne, but it's not like the throne doesn't exist in energy still, and it's almost like your throne has always existed in energy and your castle has always been waiting for you, but it's you have to build your castle and make people recognize you have to reclaim a throne that should have never been taken from you. That's what it's like. But we have fortified, control, defense. You are, you got the guards up in the watchtower. You're not just gates down, bridge down, that was how we were approaching it. No longer though. Here we have a quote that reads, in a castle in a kingdom far away lived a princess who dreamed of a world beyond the walls. The angel number here is 851. Trust in the process of life and surrender to the flow. Surrender to the flow, turtle. Jewel encrusted throne discusses symbolism of authority, abundance, sovereignty. I think your sovereignty is something that you are, claiming, reclaiming. Seated upon the jewel-encrusted throne, you reign with wisdom and grace. The treasures of the kingdom reflect the power and abundance that are rightfully yours. And the angel number here is 888. Infinite abundance and personal power. Embrace your authority and manifest prosperity. You know, I definitely feel like for you, Pile 2, this has been a journey of realizing the strength, your own strength. You know, it's like I'm getting the image of a baby lion like roaring for the first time and like finding his roar. It's natural. So we have here, this is perfect for you. This is so perfect for you, Pile 2. We have here Lark, keywords being joy, celebration, freedom. That's your era. Like, that's what you are aspiring to. Because I feel like this was stripped from you. I'm hearing. Like, you were plucked of your feathers. The symbols of this card, this is your energy. As I've discussed before, the symbols here are sun, music note, and feather. You know, this is your soaring, free. You're singing your song right now. The temperament is joyful, free-spirited, and the colors are brown and white. I think at the moment, you know, this is also a time for you to look at things more acutely. You know, take a magnifying glass to things. You're also hammering things out, okay? Working on things and teasing things out. You're very curious and diligent with that curiosity at the moment. This curiosity and the overthinking and, you know, all of this is tied into your intuition. 1331 as I say that on my timer. And this is your third eye expanding and unfolding. We have Queen of Coins here. This is where you're heading. You are procuring the funds, I heard. No one's going to be able to take this from you because you will have awareness this time, and also now you will have made it yourself. No one can take this from you. Balance is coming from this. Balance and rest, where your mind can rest, your heart can rest, and your body can rest, I'm hearing. Deep slumber. You'll be able to rest peacefully after this time, knowing that you grow from challenges and you don't have to be scared of anything affecting you negatively after this time ever again. You'll be able to rest in your ability to create balance even when the circumstances are against you to do so. You'll enter an era after this time of playfulness and romance whereby your cup will be full and you will be able to playfully exchange with the cups of others should you want to. You know, and it's very innocent and it's very loving and it's very playful, and there's no harm to be had here, and but I think you honestly choose to keep your cups to yourself is what I'm seeing after this time. And I think you actually are looking forward to keeping your cup to yourself. You will have meaningful relationships after this period, but I think you will focus on growing your abundance so that you can help others. Remain in a place of restfulness and recuperation so that you can always help others. I just heard like magic and magical, magic wand, esoteric, star, wishing star, shooting star. So we have, and this is interesting, let me flip it over to read it. We have the Shepherd, though this card came out in reverse. For some reason, a dry emotional feel just walked. Okay, so my battery died as I was about to say this, and a very dry emotional energy washed over the reading as I was about to introduce this card. So I believe, just as I was suspecting, this may be the energy that was like the illusion, King of Cups, wise mentor in reverse figure, because this also came out. You know, I think this is what messed up the root chakra. I think this is, well, we'll get into this. So we have the Shepherd here. Remembering this came out in reverse. The representation is deity with a staff and sheep. Symbolism here being guidance, care. Keywords being leadership, care. Symbols being shepherd's crook and lamb. Animals being sheep and plants being clover. So with this being in the reverse, this would have been a figure that misused their position of guidance, their position of leadership, misused your position as lamb, and turned clover energy upside down in this transaction. I think, I almost feel like they wanted to harvest the luck that you had. We have here the Traveler. This is your energy. The representation here is deity on a journey with a staff and satchel. Symbolism being adventure, exploration. Keywords being discovery, movement. Symbols being compass, map. Animals being horse. Plants being fern. And I just heard ride my horse out of here and hightail it out of here. So for your oracle cards, we have here not a mountain, stability, and not a seahorse, perspective. Ooh, I can tell this is going to be very deep and very related to our reading here. So let me pull the guidebook for this. I just got this deck. This connection that broke down may have pushed you to be more active, to move your body, and may have even caused physical ailments because it pained you so deeply, or from other more concerning reasons. So for the oracle card here with the unicorns in the mountain, we have stability, not a mountain. This card reads, suddenly along your path a mountain appears. Oh, I love that. Suddenly along your path a mountain appears. You are intimidated at first, but then you release your fears. Here is a foundation of strength and might. Ooh, reaching up to the sky to such a high height. The mountain is timeless. What did I tell you, pile 2? It's timeless. Timeless. There's never a time. There may be a good time, but there's never not a time. It moves and wavers not. Hard and steadfast, solid rock. In this moment of appreciation, a unicorn forms. Ooh, something magical is coming about this sudden mountain, pile 2. The mountain unicorn is stability. Weathering all storms, stand tall. The meditation offered with this card reads, dare to climb atop the mountain unicorn. Use your intuition to guide you along your journey. Notice every foothold, every rock is there to hold you and provide for you. Feel the stability beneath your feet and towering over your head. This moment is yours to claim and own. You are magnificent. The affirmation here is, I am a towering presence. I am an ageless force. I am a mountain. 13:12 on the timer as I say that. And I appreciate that as confirmation because I feel like you climbing up towards your truth. Pile 2 has actually been an unmasking. And in that way, it's been taking a step back from something. The action here is climb a mountain or a hill, or gaze in wonder at beautiful photos of mountains as you meditate on the concept of stability and incredible force. Visualize or climb atop the highest peak. Call out for stability, ultimate peace. Wow. So for the not a seahorse perspective card, this card reads, imagine a tiny seahorse floating along among bubbles and brine, coral and fish, a dream and a wish, an aquatic paradise. The beautiful ocean, the blue, the bright, the dancing seaweed and shafts of light. It is inspiring, it is whimsical, it is uplifting and fun. But amid all of this, look more closely, for the transformation has just begun. Is that a tiny horn? A voice rings out amid the cool blue deep. If it is magic you seek, then look more closely. I'm not just any seahorse, but a seahorse unicorn. The meditation associated with this card. And before we go there, let's look at this seahorse unicorn together. So cute. And I love, oh my gosh, this is amazing because these oracle cards, I feel like this is you in the beginning, standing before this mountain, maybe in fear, but then being in awe at the magic behind it that you find. And then I also imagined you earlier in my third eye, your energy as crawling from the ocean, the depths of the ocean, and finding yourself along the shore, but not yet quite standing, and you don't have your feet yet on the land. but you're finding strength. And it's interesting because I saw you as quite a dark, siren-esque energy as you were crawling up on the shore, and it was like nighttime, and this siren in this, if that's what that is, in this image is quite dark, and she's looking at the seahorse. And I do feel like you at this moment are searching. It began as a search for something magical, and then you found something, and now you have your gaze locked on it, fixated. The meditation associated with this card says, feel yourself floating in the sea of vision with the seahorse unicorn. Ask the seahorse to show you new facets and perspectives in a situation in your life. Float along the waves and consider the many angles. The affirmation here is, my perspective is positive and bright, always seeking beauty in times of darkness and light. That is certainly the truth for you, pile 2. The action you can take is, artwork can be interpreted in so many ways. Take yourself to an art gallery and admire the many paintings, sculptures, and works of art. Look closely, then look again. See how your perspective shapes your reality. Be mindful. Very interesting. So we have one more deck to pull from, pile 2. This has been so fun, and I feel so comforted being in your energy, and I know that you are destined to bring a lot of comfort to others. I think you're past an era where sabotage, I'm hearing, and as I say this, on the bottom of the deck we have strength. You are past an era where others can sabotage you. You have courage. You have resilience and patience. You have worked extensively and diligently on taming your own impulses, harnessing your inner strength gently and firmly. You don't struggle to address minor conflicts anymore. This difficulty has been so grand in difficulty that it's actually grown your strength in almost like a sandstorm way, because it's like every little strength gained was like a little bit of sand, and you didn't realize like the pile that was piling up in the background as you were being the windstorm that you are through all this. You're just taking it so gracefully. There may have been a group of young people, or that may be like literally young, or just young egoically, young, this can be like childish, basically. Maybe if not literally a child, they may have been childish. That was in competition with you or challenging and created like a lot of warfare. It was largely based on this group's want for imitation of you, wanting to imitate you. It was a fight that was created and one that didn't need to be had. And again, as I said earlier, you don't struggle to leave things behind that aren't yours, and this wasn't your fight to have. It was a falsified, created fight, so you left it behind in the search of your own truth. Alright, pile 2, so we just have our closing messages now, which consist of going over some additional charms we pulled, crystals, and this is just extra for fun. It's a piece out of my book collection. So starting with the crystals here, we have black tourmaline, palm stone. So this crystal deals with eliminating like fear and anxiety. We have a miniature black obsidian mushroom crystal, a red howlite mushroom crystal, a little jar of tiger's eye crystals. From my insect collection, we have a cicada wing. And I really liked this for your pile because to me it looks like a fairy wing and feels really magical. We have a fox charm as well as a butterfly, and I don't know if you can see that too well, but this butterfly to me looked like it was made like out of a snake, and it's almost like your transformation came from a shedding. We also have a pair of ballet slippers with a bow on top, a snail calling my attention back to your assured pace that you take, a squirrel resting on a branch with a leaf, a pegasus, and these two got pulled out together like as a pair, interlocked like that. It was a mustache and like that hipster mustache of like 2012, and then like a sheriff star, and it made me think like you make outlaw look good, and I think you're the sort of outlaw that's like, I don't know what it's called. I don't really know what it's called, but it's like a sort of villain that is actually a hero, It might be called anti-villain, but like they actually, you know, they've been made into a villain, but actually they do work for good. I'm getting that. So maybe you were falsely made into a villain. We have a fish charm, just reminding me of the patience required of this era. A sun charm, and lastly, we have a dog with a bone. So we will leave your reading off there for today. I hope you pulled a lot away from that. And if you did like this, don't forget to leave a like and your thoughts in the comments. Bye. Hello Pile 3 and welcome to your mystery reading. So before we get into the cards, I did have some downloads that came in just earlier while I was floating around. The song Taking Care of Business came through, and you might be tying up loose ends. And I heard wrapping things up, doing projects, and a purple energy came through for this pile. So let's jump into it, Pile 3. So we have coming out right away, we have work-life balance, lack of recognition, and social issues. Specifically gossip and rumors. You know, you may have just been dealing with people bad-mouthing or using language negatively, dishonestly, or, you know, in another shadow aspect. You're overcoming this though, I can sense that. Music-wise, we have Snooze by SZA off the album SOS. The lyrics being main one riding, how you frontin' on me and I'm the main one trying, how you blame it on me and you the main one lying, how you threatening to leave and I'm the main one crying. And Nighttime is the Right Time by Ray Charles, and the album is called Ray Charles at Newport. The lyric is, girl I love you, background goes night and day, no one above you, night and day, hold me tight, night and day, and make everything alright, night and day. There's like this energy of something wanting you to press snooze on it, but there's like something tainted that you can't scrub off. There's like an effort to lull you to sleep though. We also have here Space Girl by Francis Forever off the album Paranoia Party. The lyrics being, Space Girl, the only way that we'd end was if you were sucked into a black hole, but I'd still spend all my days dreaming about you. Tell me how to stop dreaming about you. So it is like someone can't let go of you, doesn't want to let go of you, even though I'm just hearing there's been a thorn, you know, like there's this energy here of like, look at you, look at you. And you know, I feel like it started out initially as like, look at you, in a condemning way. And I feel like you have reclaimed it to where, you know, I don't know if you're standing in it so confidently yet, but now I feel like you are in a place where you're like, look at me. And, you know, I think you may have felt judged really harshly and then unnecessarily, and because unnecessarily and unjustly, you know, I think it made you sort of step out into a place of more comfortability as far as being recognized goes. We have here the Herald and the Judge. For the Herald, we have a deity with a trumpet, symbolism being announcement and change, keywords being proclamation and news, symbols being trumpet, banner, animals being eagle, plants being olive. The Judge card is represented by a deity with scales and a gavel, symbols here being justice and balance, keywords being fairness and law, scales, gavel, animals, and plants, both the owl. I don't know if there is an owl plant. There is a plant called owl eye. I do get the sense that something that once, you know, I feel like you were full onto yourself but didn't realize that, and then found something outside of yourself that you felt full of, and then you suddenly felt nothing of that. I keep hearing olive and olive skin. You may like olives though. We have here Apple, Celestial Veil, and Fairy Godmother, as well as Bluebird. Apple discusses temptation, knowledge, abundance. The quote here is, like the apple in the hands of a fairy tale queen, it offers a choice, wisdom or folly, temptation or truth. Choose wisely, for its sweetness can reveal or conceal. The angel number here is 19, new beginnings, urging you to embrace opportunities with clarity and wisdom. I do feel like there is something trying to lull you with temptation, comfort you with temptation, keep you stuck with a false sense of sparkle. I'm hearing. Making things seem better than they truly are. For Celestial Veil, we have mystery, divine protection, cosmic connection. Beyond the Celestial Veil lies the unknown, where the stars whisper secrets of destiny. Only those who trust the unseen can glimpse the wonders that await. The angel number here is 111, alignment with the universe, trust divine timing, and stay open to spiritual revelations. It's interesting that this card is laid on top of snooze, so maybe you've been ignoring symbols and synchronicities and signs of opportunity, but you can choose not to. You can simply choose not to. Fairy Godmother here discusses magic powers, wish fulfillment, transformation. Fairy Godmothers don't just grant wishes, they believe in them. The angel number here is 914. Pay attention to your dreams and intuition. They hold valuable insights. What are you dreaming of? Are you taking action on that every day? We have Bluebird here, and I'm reminded of like a busing transportation system. I don't know if there's like a Bluebird bus, but I'm reminded of like Greyhound buses, and there might be like a Bluebird bus, but maybe buses and long distance travel, interstate travel is significant to you, pile 3. So here the Bluebird represents communication, hope, opportunity. The quote is, "Be like the bluebird who is never blue, for he knows from his upbringing what singing can do." The angel number here is 637. A brand new phase is afoot. It's time to take positive steps towards creating a better future. You know, it's interesting. This is really cool. So it's interesting because I think you are taking steps towards your future, but there's an emphasis there on positive steps because of this lulling there's potential for. And ending, this is what I found interesting. We end on ball gown, you know, and I'm just being called back to this time element and snooze, and there being a time frame for something and a time for something, and maybe something hidden until a certain time and something coming to light for a certain time period, but then going away. But we have ball gown here representing transformation, refined taste, and grace. Ball gowns are the language of elegance, speaking volumes without uttering a word. The angel number here is 973. Focus on your inner wisdom and spiritual connection. I am being called to say, after reading that card, pile 3, to just trust yourself more. Don't confuse yourself. You may have been interested in, it may have been called X. It had Mia Goth in it, but she's actually been like canceled since this came out. But you may have been interested in the whole like farmhouse to like starlit pipeline aesthetic that those films were like kind of propagating. Like, I'm a star. I just heard that because it sort of speaks to just feeling hidden. You know, I've never actually watched that film, but I certainly found interest in the aesthetic. You know, and I'm noticing here on this Space Girl card, my attention just being called to if we were sucked into a black hole, and it's like this thing that wants to lure you, just wants to suck you into its void and just have you all to itself. We have 3s and 9 of Wands here. 3s representing growth, expansion, and collaboration. 9 of Wands representing maintaining resilience and determination in the face of challenges. This is being asked of you in this moment. 444 on my timer as I say that. You are needing to maintain resilience and determination. You are being challenged right now. You are being tested right now. There are places that you are to be in, to be seen in. But it's like you have to pass these tests to arrive. So we have here the curses, and this deck, you know, it discusses karmic cycles, karma we're dealing with, karmic energies that might be present, karmic energies that are a potential. So just take this how it resonates. But we have here present in this pile the binding curse. Immobilizes your movements and progress. I feel that that is a curse that is attempting to attach to your timeline. And this is a curse that I think is already active and engaged and has a potential to solidify its roots within your timeline should you commit yourself to it. This is the curse of regret. Plagues you with thoughts of past mistakes. You already have stuff that you can look to say, I could have done this differently, and if I had the chance to, perhaps I would do this differently, or if this presented itself to me once more, certainly I would. Okay, so this is a tool that you have to move forward. You're not toolless. You have tools, even if you have no tangible tools, to move forward if you have your mind at least. If you have collected yourself. And it's interesting to say collect yourself, because I think the circumstances that you find yourself in aim to tear you to shreds, either consciously or unconsciously, or subconsciously, aims to pull you to pieces. The black hole, as you get sucked into it, it would just shred you, as far as what I'm imagining, and I can imagine it correctly, but, it's like that. It's like that's what the circumstance wants to do to you, is pull you apart. Element by element, separates the bits of you so that you're unrecognizable as a comprehensive whole. So that the qualities of you in its totality are unrecognizable. There's nothing to be seen. I'm just hearing subjugation, and I think this is a circumstances subjugation, but you're loyal. It's why you haven't left. We also have long neck here. I think you have really stuck yourself out in situations where stuck your neck out, hypothetically. And I guess that means to speak boldly with potential to, receive criticism. But what I'm actually getting is you've really sacrificed yourself. I'm getting more of an image symbolically of someone stepping up to a guillotine. And I feel like you've been self-sacrificial for others. And you're at a point where you need to either commit to these curses or release them from your timeline. And surely to God, that confirmation scared you like it did me. You may be naturally athletic, have an athletic body type, play sports, be naturally competitive or do well on a team. And I heard she's a runner, she's a track star. And I also heard endurance. Okay, you have what it takes to overcome this. So recognize that for sure. Okay, you don't deserve this. We also have here stoic, raspy voice, large hands, and it's interesting. I think about your lack of recognition, you've remained stoic. And I think your throat chakra has become activated through all this, or you've, engaged in it. And it's it's interesting that large hands lands on binding curse. I almost feel like you are being held down against your will. But we have spray tan here. Maybe that's confirmation, or you can take that as you would like. And we will just leave this here because it came out again. Athletic. So for memes, we have dog and burning house. This is fine memes. This card represents the Four of Wands in the tarot, if you were curious. And this is going on the nighttime is the right time card. So I feel like you've been trying to keep yourself soothed amongst the fire of all of this. We also have the Terminator, I'll be back, Five of Swords card. So I think, this is you, but I think to yourself because, again, you're stoic. I think this is you being this may have tried to take me out, but I'll be back and I'm going to be, ready. This has a cuss word on it. I don't know if I can actually say that, but on YouTube. This says, haters will see your bug ASS in a rug and say, he is not snug. Okay, so I do feel like you have people who maybe project the conditions that they want for you onto you, even if it isn't the case. And I do feel like you deal with a lot of competition and just haters. And this is hilarious. We have Frankenstein, it's alive, Page of Pentacles. I do feel like something has awakened you and someone is scared that they've created a monster. And on the bottom of the deck, we have Where's the Lie? Four of Pentacles. So this time we have North Node in Leo, Sun in Aquarius, Libra rising, Gemini rising, Leo rising, Virgo rising, as well as Mars, Pisces and Mars. You can have any of these signs in placements, but these are just qualities and energies that are present in this scenario. So right now, your purpose in life is to express yourself creatively and to seek recognition and develop your leadership skills. You're also learning how to be independent in this moment. And having to be independent is creating the need to be innovative for you. At the moment, you're appearing charming, diplomatic, social, balanced, communicative, adaptable, witty, curious. You're especially charming in this moment. Your confidence is radiating from you. You appear to be generous. You might even have a dramatic flair that people are noticing in this moment. You appear reserved, detail-oriented, practical, and analytical at your core. I think this is something you are shifting and transforming. Bottom of the deck, we have Pisces and Mars. So this is discussing your energy and drive around this scenario, or the energy around this scenario. The energy of this scenario is rather dreamy, imaginative, sensitive. It's also at the very same time intuitive. So even if, you may be dreaming, holding fantasy as well as another in this situation, and you're sensitive to their feelings, and you're also very intuitive about what the situation needs. We have the Supermoon card representing ecstasy, transcendence through bliss. And I just heard hedonism. This card discusses an intense peak of joy and elation. I think there is a long period of ecstasy, and perhaps that's why, there's an effort to sort of hit snooze here and be comfortable with that, because I think the remnants of the ecstasy alone are enough to keep one chasing the dragon, so to say. And on the bottom of this deck, we actually have infatuation, waxing crescent moon. Sometimes obsession, addiction can be an element that we face in romance. This card reads, an obsession wrapped in beauty, early stages of intense infatuation and attraction. Something's asking you to go deeper though and dive. We have church, temple here for shaping beliefs, seeking spiritual guidance or connection, a place for reflection and inner peace, sacred space for healing and prayer, community and shared beliefs. Relying too heavily on external sources for fulfillment may hinder growth. That's the warning that comes with this card. I think you are learning and are on a journey of coming back to self. And on the bottom of that deck, we had chain, representing restrictions or strong relationships depending on the context. Feeling bound, connection and attachments, link between past and present, responsibilities and burdens. Holding on to unhealthy attachments, responsibilities may stop you from moving freely. You need to consider that pile 3. Where do you want to go? Don't think about, the comfort of now. Think about what it is that you want tomorrow. Okay, if what you wanted tomorrow was to be in Florida and you have all the money but you only have a car, you can't take a plane for some reason, are you gonna be uncomfortable in the car for however long it takes to get to Florida, or however long it takes to get to a beach, and make that sacrifice and be uncomfortable to get to, your vacation, your victory? Or are you just gonna sit here and think about it and think about how nice it would be because that's close enough? But it isn't though. Okay, you have a choice to make. We have 9 of Swords coming out. This card deals with themes of anxiety, and the keywords here are fear, breaking point, terror, negativity, deep unhappiness, stress, burden, overwhelmed, at a breaking point, inability to cope or face life, mental anguish, guilt, regret, remorse, focusing on past, subject of gossip. And I'm pretty sure gossip came out earlier before, and you may literally have dealt with rumors, but what I feel like energetically is that this has just been a negative use of language. Negative use of language, okay? So language used against you. Language meant to do you harm. I don't know if we're straight still.
Though, that just made me think.
Confirmation. This situation may have made you question your sexuality. So this is dealing with, this situation is calling upon you to act. It's calling upon you to harness, okay, energy. So this situation is going to be voiding you and draining you of energy, and you're going to have to take and make strength to harness energy that you don't have, okay? So this is going to take a lot of you, but you have what it takes. You have what it takes. You can make what it takes. You have to make what it takes. And we're dealing with issues surrounding the sacral chakra, okay? And this is going to be dealing with Gemini energy. So maybe there's a lot to say. But on the bottom of the deck here, we have King of Wands. And this is what I'm picking up as the energy that you're being asked to step into. You're being asked to speak up, step into the light, act quickly, act assuredly, act decisively, to be a leader, to be in charge, to take initiative. We have here as messages, I appreciate your patience. I was distracted by other things. We have here Mermaid's Mirror and Sunken Ship. Mermaid's Mirror standing for self-reflection and vanity, self-awareness, beauty, introspection, the duality of appearance and reality. That's interesting. You know, I do feel like this black hole that's it's asking you to still continue to see things in a way that they no longer appear. We have Sunken Ship, lost hidden knowledge, past experiences, lessons learned, mystery, hidden treasures. And I didn't mean to create a new bottom of the deck, but we have it here, so let's just read it off. We have Ocean Current, representing guidance, direction, flow of life, unseen forces, trust in the journey, inevitability. 242 on the clock as I say that. It's almost like you were once one, you became two, and you're returning once more to one. You're coming back to self. Spring may be a significant time for you. I just heard March and March Madness. We have here Nightjar. This is a bird. The keywords are camouflage, mystery, quiet. I do feel like you are being called to become quiet, to become mysterious, to become hidden. You were unintentionally, by your own accord, hidden before, and now you need to be intentionally hidden in some aspect. The symbols here are moon, leaf, shadow. The temperament is mysterious, elusive. The colors brown and gray. So it's almost like what needs to go hidden. I feel like you need to retreat your energy. This energy of, being willing to step up to the guillotine for others unjustly for crimes you didn't commit. But just because you're so loving, you don't want them to feel the pain of, the pain of their own consequences. I think you're so empathetic that even for your loved ones, you feel pain of you wish you could take the pain of their consequences away, I think. But we have Crow here. Keywords being adaptability, cleverness, trickery, symbols being coin, mask, mirror. There is, and this mirror is calling me back to this mermaid's mirror and the duality of appearance versus reality and illusion. And there is a heavy emphasis in this reading on illusion versus... Okay, I don't know how long we weren't recording there, but I think for just maybe less than 30 seconds. For Crow, though, I was saying, just in case we missed it, that there is a heavy emphasis on illusion versus reality in this reading. The temperament of the Crow here, which is on the bottom of the deck, we have playful and clever, colors being black. You are called at this moment to be more elusive with your movements so that you're untrackable. This black hole wants to pull you into it, to dissect you and pull you apart, and to pull you to pieces in a very destructive way, okay? It wants to own you and it wants to destruct you. And, it can own you more successfully if it owns all the elements instead of the totality, and it will own the totality if it owns all the elements, but you're easier to own if it pulls you apart. And you're being called to be elusive so that you are unrecognizable and there's no edge to you. There's no edge to be found. There is an energy here of old versus new and forging new, creating new, finding new, and leaving old behind. Defining what's old, defining what's new, being more specific with what you want to carry with you. And I just heard Mary Poppins bag. And a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. We have here complete, death, complete over incomplete. I think you are complete. I think if you stay in the circumstance, you risk becoming incomplete. You're facing death in this moment. You will be born again. And you are rare. You need to have strategy in this. And there is a difference between strategy and deceit. I don't know why that's coming up, but strategy over deceit. So we have the Four of Cups here. I feel, and this has become illuminated, but I think you are in a place of confusion and fogginess, and, I don't feel like you have much clarity, but I feel like someone... Whoops, I did have strength on the bottom of the deck, but we have reshuffled accidentally here. And this card actually was trying to come out earlier, the Eight of Cups. Okay, something's been shattered dramatically. The only thing that there is to look at in this situation is darkness and broken dreams, broken alliances. You're moving past this. Something dirty has been guarding all your abundance, your health, your wealth, your beauty, everything. You have what it takes to make the change here. Okay, we had Ace of Pentacles wanting to come out. This is new beginnings at your doorstep. But of this past scenario, it is a death. 13 and 17 may be significant to you. 30, especially 13. Something to do with the death of 13, the death of innocence. But you can't remove the bones. Even if you picked apart all the meat and feathers from the birds, you still have the bones left. And I feel with you, you know, we're working with the bones of you. We have here social worker. So my camera overheated there. I can't remember exactly what I was saying, but we were pulling out the social worker card. You may have had a chance at one point to get help from this situation, but that passed and or was interrupted. But we have social worker here standing for welfare, support, advocacy, helping hands, heart, and house, as well as astronaut representing exploration, courage, discovery, space helmet, rocket, planet. You're being encouraged to explore the unknown in your world. And this reading is calling me to connect to the solar plexus chakra, which deals with themes of I feel. This chakra is represented by the color yellow and represents energy and emotions like ego, anger, and aggression. The stones related to it are malachite, calcite, citrine, and topaz. We have here the romantic partner, Knight of Cups, a family member or friend who is emotionally driven and idealistic. On the bottom of the deck, we have the legacy figure, Ten of Pentacles, a family member representing wealth, tradition, and long-term success. And I just heard all you need to do is prepare and make the preparations, one step at a time. Don't think about landing on the moon. Just think about, welding these two pieces of metal together. We have here the bear representing the earth element as well as the sparrow representing the earth element. With the bear, this is encouragement to hibernate when necessary and emerge with renewed strength. Rest. You may need to rest and recuperate before you prepare, before you make the efforts to prepare. And maybe there's a symbiotic nature that needs to happen here, like rest and prepare. Small steps still bring great change. And I was called to just pick up that there, so we'll let this be the bottom of the deck with seahorse representing water. Go with the flow, trusting that the currents will carry you. Just because you want to have control over an outcome doesn't mean you need to control every mechanism on the way there. You can surrender and have trust that you will still get to where you are meant to be going. Right now, rest, because you've been depleted. You need to recuperate, I'm hearing. We have, and it wanted to, my whole deck was upside down, so it was by mistake that this was upside down, but it wanted to show itself upside down. So, it may seem in this situation that there is due justice because a death has been made. A death has been done. A death has been had. There's no going back on that. The death wants to go hidden, and the justice wants to appear reversed because the death wants to go hidden. But again, there's an element of time here. Create stability by resting in this moment, because the hands of fate will circle back around. Justice will be had. We have moth here for trust. Trust your intuition and inner guidance above all else. On the bottom of the deck, we have fire ant representing determination. Keep your determination strong to push through any challenges. We are definitely, I definitely feel, I'm getting the image of someone that just has like ram horns on their head. Like, you definitely need to be almost hard-headed in the face of this difficulty, like persevering to your goals in this moment. It won't always feel this difficult and this draining. You won't feel like you have so much resistance, because as you soar higher, things will have a more difficult time attaching to you. Okay, so as you do better and grow and adapt to this, you will have to do less adapting. Okay, it won't feel like so much work the whole time through. It's just, it feels like maybe you're at the beginning of the preparations, perhaps. There might be some element of feeling like you're longing for something. Maybe a nostalgic longing as well as a longing for the future. Definitely a lot of reflections. that have been going on, but I get the sense that there's a lot of comfortability as well, to where, you know, it could almost, you know, I'm getting the image of someone just like snuffing out a candle with like, you know, I feel like these comfortabilities snuff out reflections, snuff out real reflections, snuff out reality bubbling to the surface. It wants to be the ultimate temptation to keep you in this quicksand pit. We have, and just double confirmation on this because it showed itself, it tried to pop out multiple times while we were shuffling there, but we have 7 of apples representing temptation, the image being an apple hanging just out of reach. The key words here are temptation and longing, and the quote is, "The things we chase hardest are often the things that we should let go of." On the bottom of the deck, we have 6 of forest, growth, transformation, and mystery. 6 rays of sunlight breaking through the trees. Hope, guidance, and clarity. The quote here is, "No matter how dense the forest, light always finds a way to shine through." And this is reminding me of how, despite the fact that you may feel entirely drained, you have to muster in this moment the strength it takes to change your circumstances. 33 and 10 and 22, 3 and 2 may be significant to you. You may be someone who likes to space out and daydream a lot, and you maybe spend a lot of time daydreaming, as well as, you know, I feel like you spend a lot of time daydreaming and then maybe an equal amount of time, if not more, day nightmaring. Like, you know, as much as you weigh the fantasy that you have, you weigh the possible nightmares of the circumstances. I think you need to find solitude and maybe spend time in nature, I'm being compelled to say. Spend time with water, spend time with trees. For some reason, a barn is coming up. It's just making me, you know, it's reminding me of just spending time in solitude. Quiet spaces, solitary spaces. Spaces where you can explore and allow the meditations of the mind to take over at the very same time, while also allowing your body, I guess, as well as your mind, just be idly curious. This is interesting because I've never pulled this card here and actually have never seen it, but we have, first of all, not a centaur, fighting spirit. And then on the bottom of the deck, we have not a planet, space. So this is a new deck for me, so let me grab my guidebook real fast. So with fighting spirit, not a centaur, the transformation here reads, "Your path becomes rocky and intense, and you need to prepare for an arduous battle ahead. You call upon everything that is inside of you, all of the strength you can muster, all of your allies, your spirit guides. But what's this? A beautiful centaur appears to assist you in your fight, clad in armor with spear and shield, and who knows what protection this powerful ally could yield. But there's more, because in addition to his mighty force, this centaur is equipped with a sharp and powerful horn. When you are preparing to fight your good fight, it is true, the centaur unicorn will appear to you." The meditation here is to meditate on a mighty task before you, perhaps the one in this circumstance. See yourself in victory. Visualize the centaur unicorn by your side as you ride into battle and conquer. You are a warrior. The affirmation here is, "I am a warrior soul. I will charge forth and conquer in beauty and strength." The action here says, take a kickboxing class, go to an axe throwing center, visit an archery range, join up for taekwondo. It's time to get physical to nourish your warrior soul. For the not a planet space card, the transformation that speaks of says, the planets align and the stars shine. The sun beams its light. The galaxy turns. The solar system makes its journey round and around in a flurry of sound and sight. Look up at night. What do you see? Is it a vast blackness and empty space? Or is it a playground with room for infinite dreams? The possibilities are boundless, and the infinity of the conscious universe astounds. In that space of wonder, the planetary unicorn is found. This card is calling upon you to dream, and your previous oracle card is calling upon you to fight for your dream. The meditation here for Not a Planet Space oracle card is to look up into the sky at night and open your heart. See yourself journey from the earth to the sun, to the solar system, to the galaxy, the greater cosmos, and beyond. All this lies within you. The planetary unicorn appears and speaks. Listen closely. You know, this is saying to me something divine is due and knocking, and it's demanding you answer. The affirmation here is, I am wide open like a galaxy, as vast as endless space. I have found my place. The action here is stargazing is a wonderful activity to open the mind to the vast possibilities of space. Lay down in the grass and look up. Feel the infinite possibilities all around you. And I think it would be cool to pull next from a angel deck. So we have Archangel Gabriel here representing communication. Speak your truth. Your voice is needed this week. We also have alignment of purpose here, angel number being 1122. You are aligned with your higher purpose. Keep going. 0306 on my timer as I say that. I just heard, you're about to level up. That's fun. So what has went wrong has been a distraction, but you're realizing you've spent too much time on this. Okay, you might even be embarrassed to yourself to say. Maybe you wouldn't share that with others, but you are the star. We have the star coming out. Okay, you're destined to dream. You're destined to reach for the stars and reach the stars. Okay, aka you are destined to arrive, and this is the beginning, if you let it, of a shooting star momentum. You just have to ride that flame with it. Hold on to dear life. Hold on for dear life to your gifts, to the qualities that make you shine. And I say qualities because there is this is just coming back to the need to protect yourself and to be elusive, because there is a need to remain cohesive, because something is aiming to, I just heard piranha. It's like, take little bits and pieces of you until there's just bones. And I feel like the imagery of bones, I'm seeing it here. I don't see it currently, but I feel like there was another card here where there was like imagery of bird bones. You may feel like you've had bad days on your birthdays before from this circumstance. I'm also hearing there was like an analytical approach to deceit that happened here. And I heard bonds of love broken. I'm hearing nurture your creative space and keep both your creative space and your mind elusive in this moment, unobtainable. So we have coming out the forget-me-nots and the lilac for the flowers, and the messages here are true love memories, do not forget me, and joy of youth. There almost is like a sense of like lost youth, or lost young love, or lost passion. The nostalgic aspect from heartbreak, yearning for something that you once had but no longer have. And it's interesting because the forget-me-not is also called scorpion grasses, and scorpion deals with death and rebirth, sex. It's also called mouse's ear, and this flower deals with loyalty and true love. But this flower can spread quickly and become invasive, and this card serves as a reminder to not let nostalgia overshadow new realities. With lilac, this is also called fairy's bloom as well as memory's breath, which is interesting considering we have forget-me-not. And I like how it's called fairy bloom because there is a call here to remember what you once considered magical, to renew that sense of nostalgia. But there is a warning to beware in dwelling too long in what's gone, of lingering in the past. Not to force things that don't fit. When I pick up our deck over here, we have the world on the bottom. I think you're looking to the future and shocked by the illusions of freedoms of the past. You're feeling vulnerable and, like without a shell, but you have the tools you need to sort of start trekking, okay? And you are being asked to start trekking. You're being asked to take action and have courage to meet your destiny, which you can create for yourself, but don't spend too much time. Like, as I said earlier, I do get the sense that you spend a lot of time thinking, daydreaming and nightmaring. Day nightmaring. So I think, there's even being a call to action here on being elusive even in the ways in which you guard yourself. Don't appear that you have your guard up, because then the thing that you need to guard yourself from knows is being guarded against. If you don't put a guard up, then the thing that is a threat thinks nothing's changed And I think that is the elusiveness maybe that you need to step into, just this hidden energy, so there's an element of protection here. Let us jump into the very last portion of your reading, pile 3, which is the charms, crystals, and the piece from my personal insect collection. I thought this was a grasshopper. It's actually, I guess, a leaf insect, and it's known as a bush cricket or a katydid. I guess they have a distinctive call that's musical, apparently, and silvery. This is what it sounds like. I didn't know this, but before I never, this is interesting because I collect insects. What's cool though is I just recently got these little packages for them, because before, as you can see, I just had them in this open container, and their legs were getting broken and all this. But anyways, I never checked them out, but now that they're in these containers, I have been, especially with this reading, because I've been picking one out with each pile, and I didn't notice until now the wings on this were leaves. Anyways though, we also have this Peace Jade Star, as well as this Unakite Heart Crystal. In this tiny jar we have agate, as well as apparently citrine. I wasn't aware of that. Ooh, it has a little rainbow sheen to it. And red jasper quartz. For charms, we have a golden moon. I feel like what makes you shine has become illuminated through all this for you. We also have a peacock charm, as well as a tree charm, a sun charm, and I definitely take notice to how it has a joint on either side of the sun. It reminds me of this word, though I can't think of it at the moment, but it means to be pulled passionately in two directions at the very same pressure, rate of pressure. We also have dragon, zebra, and an ornate purple moon. I think people find you to be maybe emotionally flared, and I mean flared as in F-L-A-I-R-E-D. You have a dramatic flair to your emotions, perhaps, or they, I don't know that it's dramatic. I think more precisely what I would describe it as you have a very decorated emotional space. And what I mean by that is I'm getting you have valor, okay? As if you had a lot of ribbons and rewards to wear on a jacket. You are emotionally noble. You've taken more than you have ever needed to, and you just hold it with grace and compassion, and you don't misplace anything onto others, even when it's been misplaced onto you. I think you're incredibly rare, but you've been pushed into black and white boxes, and it's time for you to breathe your fire, to send your roots into the earth and branch out finally. But pile 3, we are going to leave your reading off there. I hope that was amazing for you. It definitely was for me. I enjoyed each of these piles. If you were called to any other pile, I'll find you there now. And if you enjoyed this, definitely leave your thoughts in the comments, and for sure subscribe so I can see you again. For now though, bye!